Evening, folks. It is the 22nd of January 2018, and we have a new episode of Three Men and an Anime.
Hooray!
Yay!
As I'm Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined with my good friends and co-hosts, Eric Carlson and Gav Leaf. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Doing good.
Excellent. So, this is a fairly short turnaround time between series, and this was not like a 12-episode series.
No, we just ate this one. We devoured
it. We didn't have our usual sort of, aperitif series we were watching before. The way we sometimes do.
All the other shows that we watch on a week-by-week basis have kind of gone on hiatus at the moment, so we only have the show of the week to watch. And so, I mean, in timeline, in real world, this has only been 2 weeks now since we recorded the last one. We just chewed through this thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It flew by.
Which is a good sign.
Yeah, it is actually. We are covering Eric's most recent suggestion, which is Recreators.
Yay!
Possibly the most recent show, like time to air versus when we've actually reviewed it.
It's very close.
I think One Punch Man was actually sooner, because I just finished it we did the first episode. And I was like, this is what we have to do.
We've done a few that were very close to air, but... technically speaking, when we did the special episode on My Hero Academia Season 1.
That's a good point, yes. That literally just finished and we recorded it.
Literally, it finished and we recorded it.
Yeah.
The next Monday. So Recreators, so in stateside, and I'm not sure where else, it's licensed on Amazon, so it's on their streaming service. And Eric suggested it because Amazon has finally gotten rid of Anime Strike.
Yeah, because, double paywalls to watch shows is such a great idea.
So, it's on Prime Video, stateside at least. I'm not sure where it is outside of, in, Europe and such. But at any rate, Recreators. Well, it's your show, Eric.
All right. So, Recreators, I guess the best way to describe it would be opposite isekai.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The premise, your general isekai premise is, nerdy kid gets transported to some world where he's got all kinds of genre knowledge and proceeds to be awesome or an idiot, depending on whether it's a comedy show or not. This is kind of the opposite in that characters from manga, light novels, anime, and whatnot,
and video games
start appearing in the real world, and weirdness ensues. Not in the least bit because they become aware that they're fictional and that their creators are still alive. And what do you do when you realize your world is fictional and you can talk to the guy who created your world? I don't know about you, but first thing I think is let's edit some shit.
And that's what several of the characters do actually kind of desire, because for some of them, their worlds kind of suck.
Yeah.
Imagine the dude that's currently the dude that created and started writing Attack on Titan suddenly has to have a sit down 1-to-1 with Eren Yeager.
Yeah.
Or God help you, the guy who writes Berserk has to sit down and talk with Guts.
There will be no talking. There will be only blood.
Probably. Depends on when in the timeline you're pulling Guts from, though.
That's true.
Yeah. But what I mean is first scene of Attack on Titan is and your mum gets eaten in front of your face. And it's yeah, I wrote that. Excuse me, motherfucker?
Homie, say what?
To be fair, one of the creations does have exactly that conversation with their creator, and it's what? It's all in service of the story. What do you want me to do? It's actually a really great conversation. It's towards the climax of the series.
Yep.
And yeah, she does get shot.
You visited awfulness upon me and my world and my family, and You made me do something that no parent should ever have to do. Why?
Because it was awesome. Blam! Ow!
It made the story more interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
the catalyst for all of this, though, is actually a suicide.
that's where the show starts. Was with a young girl walking off off the platform on a train station in front of a train.
Yeah,
I
a high school
remember
girl like walking off it, and then you're like, huh.
I remember when we were watching it, I was like, wow, I really hope that ties into the rest of the show, otherwise that's a really weird way to start the show.
Yeah.
And then, like, the next scene is we've got this moderately nerdy kid sitting in front of his computer, in front of a light desk, staring at a blank page.
Been there, done that.
Yep. Goes, fuck it, I'm gonna watch anime. Because we've all done that.
He's a little bit obsessive because he checks whatever the Japanese have instead of Crunchyroll in this anime universe, and he's like, oh shit, the next episode's not out yet. Fine, I'll watch the last one. Like,
Yep.
Dude, I know you've watched this like 8 times. Come on, dude. Calm down.
And he gets briefly sucked into a mech battle with Celestia something or other.
Celestia Upetira.
Right. We'll just call her Celestia.
Basically, it's an anime called Elemental Symphony of Vogel Chevalier, which is a fictional
mouthful.
series. Yeah, fictional series that he really likes, and he gets pulled into it.
Literally. In the middle of a mech battle, where Celestia is piloting her Vogel Chevalier, something French. Against some chick some woman in a greatcoat, a cavalry hat, and pigtails with a constellation of sabers whirling around her.
I'm not sure I'd describe her hairstyle. I mean, it's technically pigtails, but
Yeah,
that doesn't do it justice. Let's be real.
it's a whole lot of white hair. Let's put it that way. She's a little over-designed.
A little?
The show actually makes the joke. She's an animator's nightmare.
Yes. And in the process of the fight, Celestina notices poor Sota stuck in the middle of this fight, dodges to get him out, and gets pulled into our world. Our little military princess there, which is her name for the vast majority of the show, absolutely does recognize him and is shocked to see him there.
Yep.
And, yeah. A lot of the rest of the episode is military princess chasing Sota and Celestina back into the real world. Celestina going, what the fuck's going on?
To be fair, that's a perfectly rational reaction.
That's an entirely legitimate reaction. A lot of Sota's reaction is, what the fuck's going on? Why am I being dragged along with all of this? And them basically getting their asses pulled out of the fire, but yet another creation. A mage named Meteora Osterreich?
Yes.
Remember that one. Also, she's clearly the best character. And yeah, at which point the Meteora pretty much lays down what she thinks is going on, and that's that something at some catalyst has caused different worlds to collide, and for some reason it's fictional worlds are colliding with their parent world, and characters are coming through, and it's really weird. She's not sure what's going on, but it's definitely the military princess's fault, and the military princess's declared reason is to gather all of their creators together and get them to edit their worlds to make things better. Meteora is not an idiot and goes, that is clearly a lie.
But yeah, they make a good point in this as well there, where despite the fact that we spend quite a lot of time meeting these creators and the different creations,
Mm.
they do make a point to try and make sure that we never think of these guys as fictional characters.
Yes.
They are, in and of themselves, they're in the real world, air quotes. They're fully formed people. They just happen to come from someone else. I mean, they all refer to the reality as the world of the gods because that's where all their creators live. Right. Everyone in it is a god. They're pathetic,
everyone is capable of creating a whole new world.
But yeah, they literally have the power of creation. They don't consider themselves fictional. They just consider themselves from another world.
Right. And some of the characters we meet start out as two-dimensional, shall we say? Fucking Mamika, the magical girl Mamika, whose evolution is great. She is a shit character from a crappy anime that quickly comes to real, as the depth of the real world collides in on her, comes to realize what's going on and becomes a really interesting character.
But from the off, sorry, just to, they're basically bound by their synopsis. So. At the point of creation, of the point of emergence into this world, it's literally who and what they were up to that point in their anime / show / whatever.
Right. Those are the powers and abilities they have, and their personality. But that doesn't mean they can't change. Like I said, we see that happen with Mamika.
Yeah. Once they get out of the, once they're out of their world, their actions are no longer controlled by a person.
Right. They are fully realized individuals and no longer, for lack of a better term, bound by the fate of their narrative.
Yeah. I mean, their fundamental personality doesn't change, but a lot of them do grow up a bit. Yeah.
Well, it's also down to, and Meteora, basically, her, at least little mini arc that she has, is about discovering, the whether the creators are actually, benevolent, do they love their creations, or is it just cheap entertainment? And considering that she was hopeful because considering all she really was, she was a late game quest giver / shop, essentially, in a video game. And she's like, the last stop before the final boss, NPC. But her creator had put so much thought into her backstory. Even though she has a very minimal role, she was fleshed out enough and, thought enough, and the creator had enough respect for his world that he created, that she was a fully formed character. She was literally a shop that had a set fixed responses. But when she emerged, she's still a full character. She lives on the synopsis she's given. So you might see, it's like, for example, what games have I played recently? When you get those games where you hear about this awesome, great sorcerer, and all you see him do is in the book that you read or the game that you play. All you see him do is talk about his past days and give you ideas or quests or whatever else. If you were to step out of that book, he's still an awesome sorcerer.
It's like Gandalf. What does Gandalf do? He shows up, he puts people on adventures. Occasionally he swings a few magical bits, but most of the time he sits in the background.
Yeah.
But everyone fucking remembers Gandalf.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what Meteora was.
Yes. And that's actually really important.
Yes.
The fact that everyone remembers Gandalf.
Because one of the reasons the characters that start crossing over are the ones that are most that have the greatest following, that are they use the term acceptance.
It's the greatest resonance within a it's like Final Fantasy characters. Everyone recognizes the characters. Those that don't even play the games, they couldn't tell you which game they come from, but they know that's a Final Fantasy character because that's so and so.
Yeah, everyone recognizes Cloud. It's the guy with the yellow spiky hair and the oversized sword.
Yep.
But not everyone recognizes the annoying ninja girl that nobody likes.
Yuffie. Not that I have certain associations with that character, but at any rate, God, I hate her. Sorry. But, yeah, so basically, quickly sort of, military uniform princess, when she comes over, she tries to recruit Celestia to her side. Celestia's like, yeah, I don't trust you any further than I could throw, say, this building. It's like, no, people who laugh like
fair,
that are
it's a decently far amount, considering it's a fucking building.
Yeah, but yeah, the thing is, I love her rationale. It's like, okay, people who laugh like you can't be trusted.
Yes.
Because military uniform princess has a villain laugh. I mean, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't believe your stated goals. Nope, I don't believe that's what your actual goals are. And they're not. They really aren't. And so the first chunk of the show is basically, so, yes, we've got, was it Sota?
Yeah, Sota's our audience insert, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
He's more interesting than most audience inserts characters.
Yes, he is.
He's considerably more interesting, but he's the normal teenager caught up in all these shenanigans.
Right. So, yeah, it's Meteora and Celestia end up basically teaming up to try to figure out, okay, we got to figure out what military uniform princess is up to. And probably stop her, because it's probably a bad thing. And Meteora eventually figures out what she thinks the princess is up to. And them meeting more and more creations, figure out who they are and which side they end up being on.
Well, that's the thing, you see. So, because, as we've already said, the creations that are starting to appear are the ones that resonate the most. So, they're not necessarily all heroes.
Oh, no.
One that shows up, I think, is really super fucking interesting. It's like, games like Streets of Rage and that sort of stuff, where you are generic McGenerickson. Your hero's journey is kind of but the main boss that you're trying to get to is like super interesting, and his backstory is more fleshed out because they need to give you a reason to beat him. Yeah, one of the guys that comes through, he's the end boss of a video game. He's the rival.
Well, it's actually it's not a video game. It's from a manga series.
Oh, is it? I thought it was.
Yep.
A video
game. It's from a manga series. He looks like he just walked out of friggin' No More Heroes.
He looks. Dear God, I saw him as like, oh, he's clearly a reference to Travis Touchdown.
Yes, I think we all did.
Yeah.
And he is a little bit, but.
But like a lot of the times the leads, the main characters, are not the ones that come through. In a few cases, in most cases they are, but not all of them.
One of the characters that comes through is this grizzled detective from a cyberpunk series. He's not the main character. He's actually the main character's sidekick. He's just the one everyone remembers.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like every as tough as it sounds, and it's not a sidekick, but it's like, okay, Dragon Ball Z is Goku's story. You know damn well Vegeta's showing up.
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
Yeah. I think it's more like Piccolo, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it depends on which era of Dragon Ball you're talking about, Eric.
That's true.
But at any rate, so the guy in question, Yuya, we're talking about, yeah, he's the main antagonist. He's a major antagonist in that series. And, he shows up as Mamika is. She shows up desperately trying to convince Meteora and Celestia to join up with the princess, because she's been recruited to the princess's side.
Right, because the princess told her about this plan. Mamika's like from a crappy anime where everyone declares their intentions right up front. She's like, clearly, why would she lie? Lying's not a thing that happens.
Also, what she's saying is, we're gonna get the creators to, help us save our worlds and get us home.
Yeah, it's a grand quest.
Yeah, and so Mamika's desperately trying to convince them, and it ends up getting into a bit of a fight.
A bit of a fight.
A bit of a fight, mainly because Celestia and Meteora are like, no, we've already had this conversation. We're not coming. But you have to come. We're not coming. Well, then I'll have to make you see the light. And she transforms and like starts throwing magical heart blasts at them. And Celestia's like, okay, I guess we're fighting now.
But she's not even really directly fighting. She's trying to get her away from the crowd.
Yeah, get her away from the fucking population center, which is a crowded office building they're in.
Yeah.
And like she eventually puts Celestia down. She like knocks her out of the sky because Celestia can fly, because of course she can. And fucks her up, and she's like, then Mamika's like, wait a minute. She like suddenly starts seeing what's going on around her and goes, why is there so much blood? Why are there destroyed buildings? What the hell happened?
And she's like, did that hurt? And Celestia's like, of course it fucking hurt.
Of course it fucking hurt.
You blasted me into the ground.
There's a crater. I'm in the middle of a crater.
And poor Mamika's like, what?
Well,
That's not how any of this is supposed to work.
Because unfortunately, Mamika came from a children's anime that didn't have the PG rating for blood.
Right.
So, blasts
she came from like the equivalent of like the 4Kids version of fucking Sailor Moon.
Yeah. So basically, the blast would hit her enemy, and they would just go pop into bubbles or some shit. No. This now she's in a world where broken bones and blood exists.
Yeah.
She's like, wait, what?
And she's kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
And Celestia pushes her advantage, and it's like, yeah, guess what? This is how this world works. It's a lot like how mine works, and takes a swing at her while she's distracted by her sudden realization. So Mamika does what anyone else does when they're having a panic attack, and blows more shit up.
Well, she starts powering up her big super attack, which is when Yuya shows up and basically stops it cold.
Yeah. Because the dude's got his stand. The only thing that can defeat
he
stand
doesn't bust his stand out immediately. He stops it with his wooden sword.
He stops it with his bowcan. You're right.
Right. Then he summons his stand because he's actually a JoJo character. Because he's a motherfucking JoJo's reference.
He really is.
There are a lot of references to a lot of different things in this show.
He is like once he reveals it's obviously a stand reference. You immediately look at him and go, yeah, I could definitely see him in JoJo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he's a little thin for a lot of for the
no,
JoJo
yeah, he is
scene.
not the muscle, he's not the massive muscles that a lot of JoJo characters are, but
yeah.
Each and every one of these characters, they don't use actual names or actual series or anything like that, but you could quite easily just take them out and see what shows they're referencing.
I mean, Yuya's definitely a combination of stuff.
Yeah.
But the only thing they're missing is an outright superhero.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, so you got you. So he stops that cold. At which point, God, what's her name?
Altair.
Altair shows up, who's
pretty much our guts prestige.
Yeah, she's a mix of a bunch of stuff, but she's from a world that is not unlike Berserk.
Yeah. She's considerably less furious than Guts, shall we say?
Homicidal.
She is not yet. No. She's currently handling things more rationally than Guts does.
She comes from the same kind of world, but she has the code of a knight.
Yeah.
She's hung on to it at least. Guts used to.
Used to.
Well, yeah, then Griffith did his thing, and
I'm not blaming Guts. Everything went horribly wrong. But yeah, so she shows up and stops Yuya from fighting Mamika, and everyone basically runs away.
Yeah.
Oh no, Blitz shows up too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Does Blitz show up here also?
Not in this bit, no.
No, Blitz shows up later. You're right.
Yeah, Blitz shows up later. Although Yuya we found out Yuya had a previous conversation with Blitz.
Yes.
By conversation, I mean fight.
Yes. So we find out Yuya's deal. He's not really, at this time, interested in teaming up with anybody. He's like, yeah.
He's mostly just interested in the fact, like, holy crap, ice cream tastes awesome. That's a common thread, actually, is a lot of the creations, for lack of a better term.
Well, it's the term they use in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are just floored by the additional sensations of our world, like taste. Like you never see Meteora without eating something unless it's serious. If she's not eating, it's deadly serious.
Pretty much.
It's they describe it as the lack of depth, because there's only so much that a creator can put in there and imagine. You can't get the full experience of everything. But coming to the real world that isn't created, that is just is, has all those natural things. You get like there's one scene where they're just stood outside and it's like, they're at the beach, I think it is, and it's like, wow, so you've got like the wind and the feel under the feet and the sound and that little bit of spray in the air from the water and this, that, and other, and and they're going through all the different sensations of feelings that they don't normally get.
There's actually a great bit in the first episode where Sota, Meteora, and Celestina basically go for a walk, because Celestina tries to clean up Sota's room with magic. Not Celestina, Meteora. So they go for a walk. They walk around the neighborhood, and just they pick up some stuff at the convenience store. They check out various things, and Celestina and Meteora are continually kind of floored by things they see. There's a great moment that they're both clearly just knocked on their ass by a bit of street art.
Yeah,
and that I remember that one 30-second scene kind of hit me. Just Celestina's expression, and Meteora is sort of the expressionless weirdo archetype.
Well, she's basically she's a librarian mage, so she's all about knowledge and...
Right. But I'm seeing like the personality archetype.
She's very reserved, generally.
Yes. And you see her like cock her head and like actually make an expression, which we hadn't seen her do beforehand.
Right.
Which speaks volumes coming from her.
Yep. But yeah, I love the little conversation at the cafe with Yuya, where they're eating, and Yuya's basically explaining what he's figured out, because he's figured out some shit because he's not an idiot.
Right. He comes off as a dumb thug initially, but to have a conversation with him, you realize he's actually really perceptive and capable of a lot more than anyone's willing to give him credit for.
Yep.
Because he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that the people coming over here are the ones most popular in their respective series. Because turns out I'm pretty popular here. Look at all the merch I've got.
Yeah. Yeah, and he basically is like, yeah, they're like, I'd love to go talk to my creator. I've got questions I'd like to ask him, but beyond that,
I'm not going to ask him to change anything. I mean, that would be ridiculous. Then it's not my world anymore.
Right. And he's mostly just interested in like doing stuff he finds interesting.
Yeah. He's just wants to explore the world. He thinks it's cool.
It's that touch of anarchy. It's like, why would I be in control? Do you know how boring that would be?
Who wants to be God when you can see everything else?
And also, he also is clearly, it's like, the thing with the creation of the world, that could lead to some fun fights, because he likes fighting.
Yeah.
He's from a battle series.
Of course he likes fighting.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Matsubura, actually.
No, we have. Well, yeah, we just met him. That's right.
Yeah, we just met him at this point. He was in the office building that was getting blown up by Mamika.
Yeah, because the reason they were there is they were meeting up with Matsubara, the creator of Celestia's world.
Yeah. Who takes it in his stride, honestly.
Well, he's a little freaked out at first.
At first, he's like, wow, that's some great cosplay. This isn't cosplay. Holy crap! Wow! Whoa! What the? This is...
Well, yeah, she draws a sword, which is a magical sword that is just a hilt, until it's not.
And he's like, "Oh, wait, what?"
And then he watches her fight Mamika. He's like, "Huh. Okay, well, this is gonna go badly for her without her mech." What do you mean? She can't reach her potential without the mech.
I should know. I wrote the character.
And Matsubura is probably my favorite character, honestly.
He's pretty awesome.
As much as I like a lot of the others, he's probably the one I find most relatable, and that he's basically just a middle-aged guy trying to get a paycheck, right? Yeah. While doing what he loves. Suddenly confronted with the realization that his creation has an independent life beyond him.
Yep.
Which is a great metaphor for our getting out in the world.
Yes. One thing I actually really liked this. Combined with all this super action and everything else, is a really cool, almost slice of life into the life of a mangaka.
Yeah.
Hidden in here. And the sort of shit that they had to do. It's like...
Yeah, as there be other...
Like the fate of the world's at hand. Well, where the fuck is he? He's got a deadline.
One of them actually says, yeah, the only thing scarier than the apocalypse is a deadline. And all the creation's like, how do you live?
They do a scene later on where they're trying to get together a TV crew a TV studio to produce an anime within like 3, from start to finish in like 5-6 months. And one of the closing lines of the speech is, "Yes, I'm aware what I'm asking you. I'm asking half of you to die."
The government does get involved in this, having realized what the hell's going on, and because the government are not stupid in this.
No, they really aren't.
The government's first meeting with our main characters goes poorly because they send in a strike team. But to be fair, a giant mech did just manifest around them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get introduced to a second creator who is, I believe, it's Masaki Nakanagane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who created, hang on, what's the show called? He's the anime writer, the screenplay and scenario writer for Infinite Divine Machine Monomagia. It's basically Gundam.
Yeah. It's a cross between Gundam and Evangelion.
Yeah.
I've also met Marine at this point, also the illustrator for Matsubura's series.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically child soldier in a giant fucking mech.
Yeah.
And he's shown up he's found Nakanagane, and he's basically asking the similar sort of questions.
It's not even like he found him. He actually manifested in the world by Nakanagane, and it's like I
love the fact that we were introduced to him by Nakanagane when he calls Matsubara is like, dude, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but let me guess, one of your characters just appeared in front of you. What?
Yeah.
How did
All
you
right,
know?
which one was it? Is it from that new series you're working on? The mech series. Wait a minute. Yeah, I've got something outside my place. There's a 300-foot robot outside my apartment. Can you come over here?
And yeah, that prompts military response from the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it was one of those, wow, this is the wrong way to get them on your side, but...
And Meteora calls them on it.
Yeah, she's like, you
maybe you should have sent a driver with a business card. Well, we would have if it weren't for the fact there's a 300-foot tall war mech outside someone's apartment. Fair enough.
Yeah. So this basically enables them to form a team to figure out, okay, how are we going to fix things? Meteora explains what she's figured out. Yuya's fucked off at this point because that's what he does.
Right.
The pilot of said robot, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Rui Kanoya.
Oh, Kanoya, yeah. Yeah, Kanoya's he's come along, but he's remarkably uninterested in... He doesn't want to get back in the robot at the moment.
Get back in the robot, Shinji.
He is
Shinji
so...
with his spine is what he is.
he's very much an analog to Shinji, but he's an analog to Shinji in a world where, character development actually happens.
Yeah.
It's like Eric said halfway through. Kanoya is basically Shinji if his character arc actually stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, as opposed to becoming a fucking wavelength. It was an arc instead of a wavelength.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So yeah, I can't remember the government agent's name.
Starts with a K.
It's long and begins with a K.
Kikuchiara.
I just found her, Kikichiara. Yes, thank you.
She's great, honestly.
Yeah, she's great. She's no nonsense, practical,
competent for a government agent.
Yes,
very competent.
She's fucking funny as well.
Yeah, so Meteora and company explains everything to her, and she's like, "Huh? So you really think that's the possibility?" Yeah. Well, that tracks with the information we have. So how do we stop the world from ending?
Because that's what Meteora's figured out.
Right. Altair, our military princess here, is actually trying to unmake the world by bringing enough creations into our reality that it causes it stretches the limits of. So many of them are just complete physical aberrations. Like they do shouldn't be able to happen.
Reality is in itself almost a conscious aspect in this series. You bring something that shouldn't happen into the world, and it's not just that. Well, it is happening. Tough shit. Reality is like, no, it's fucking not. Get out of my existence.
Yeah, you see this a lot in various series involving like magic or other. Or time travel, like the idea that reality can be stretched only so far before it breaks.
Yeah.
And that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to stretch it to the breaking point, which will destroy our world and, by extension, all the other worlds.
So it's your typical fucking, over-the-top plot where it's, I don't like existence, therefore nothing will exist, including me!
Well, it's the kind of, it's...
The super nihilist sort of thing.
Yes, thank you. That was the phrase I was looking for. It's profoundly nihilistic on... Like, even for an anime. Most anime don't have villains being quite that nihilistic.
No.
Like, not just destroy the world, destroy everything.
Yeah.
Like, unmake reality. Not to reforge it in their own image, just unmake it.
Yep. And they're not entirely sure what her motivation is, and they don't know who she is. They can't figure out where she's from.
Right. Because she doesn't seem to pop up in, like, any video games or manga or anime series or anything like that. She's
clearly a creation, but they can't figure out where she's from.
Like, one of their first thoughts, well, have we checked Western media? With a design like that, are you kidding? I mean, that's not the line uttered, but it's like, I don't think so, not like that. But
yeah, she's wearing a suspiciously German-esque uniform. So, military German-esque uniform. There's no fucking way she's Western.
Well, it's weird, because it's sort of a French cavalry hat with a Spanish double-breasted jacket.
Yeah. With the boots.
And
with jack boots.
And Eric mentioned this early on. One of her early attacks, she pulls out like a Tommy gun type thing, and her cavalry saber, and she proceeds to play the gun like a violin with the saber. It's like,
which is amazing. I just want to say.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's just one of those. What? It's awesome.
Totally a Final Fantasy attack, is what it is.
Yes.
It's totally someone's limit break.
And during all of this, as they're trying to figure this out, you can see that Sota knows something.
Yeah. Sota's clearly known something that's going on. And he's almost says something a couple times. Like you could see his mouth open and him sort of like move to say something, then stop himself. And it's clear it's something that he's embarrassed about, which is underselling it quite a bit.
Just a little bit.
Well, it's not so much embarrassed; it's this huge fucking weight.
It's a tremendous amount of guilt and shame, actually.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, we're introduced to there's another fight that happens. Oh no, we're first introduced to. So the government basically plan is okay. Altair's clearly going to be going. We don't know her name at this point, but
right.
Uniform military princess's name. Military uniform princess is actually her name's Altair. We're going to call her Altair, despite that that's a reveal later because it's just so much shorter.
Yes.
So Altair clearly is trying to confront the various creators with their creations and such at various points. So we're going to make sure we protect as many of the creators as we can, especially once we find out, that we find out, okay, what series is this creation from? Who created them? Let's see if we can bring them in so they're not working for Altair. And if they are working for Altair, we'll bring their creators in. If we'll at least protect their creators, at least.
Now, by this point, I think they're already aware that Altair has been busy.
Yeah, they quickly find out. Okay, well, Altair is out there. Let's find her creator. Her creator's missing. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Right. She's kidnapped him, by the way.
Yes.
And beaten the crap out of him and stuck him in a tiny room and told him, "Fix my world." And he's like, "That's not how it works." Because Altair is nothing if not direct.
Yeah.
She, by the way, over the course of the series, has become really good friends with Mamika, largely because Mamika's really reaching out to her, and because she's the other chick that isn't constantly brooding in the ruined stadium for some reason.
Also, Mamika, despite being unbelievably naive at first.
Stupendously naive, yes.
And, somewhat simple, is also, she's a complete sweetheart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is genuinely a good person.
And she sees that Altair is pretty upset about things. Understandable. She came from planet fuck-off fantasy hellhole.
Yeah.
And is trying to help her out and be a friend. And is honestly just really fascinated by how much birch she's got, because she's part of a children's show. They slap her face on everything.
Yes.
Well, that was brilliant. There's one scene where Mamika finds Altair and she's like, I went and bought food. Are you hungry? Like, okay. What do you have? Well, I don't really know what I like in this world, so I just bought everything with my face on it. That's got to be good, right?
Yeah, and they share a meal, and it's actually very cute and sweet.
Yeah.
And again, and Altair, she actually takes to Mamika because Mamika's just relentless, friendly earnestness just wears her down.
Yeah.
Well, it's so much that is because
hard
of
to
the
be
world
mean
she
to Mamika, honestly.
Yeah, because of the world she comes from. She's very guarded and all the rest of it. Children aren't children in her world. They have to survive like everyone else. So having this little ball of sunshine, it's such a break for her. It's just a change.
Yep.
It's that literal ball of sunshine for her that she just never had.
The other thing is that she knows that Mamika is actually, she's a hero.
Is honest and earnest in trying to be good about this, and
but there's also the fact that she knows Mamika can hold her own, is not in danger of just being wiped out randomly.
Mm.
I say for no reason. And it's like I can actually be friends with her. She's not just going to up and die on me randomly.
Oh, poor Altair.
Yeah. At this point, this is roughly when we get the next creation showing up.
Right.
Who is probably my favorite of the creations.
She's probably the best character. Not my favorite, but the best character.
So eventually, Magane Chikogujin shows up. And her character design is amazing.
Yes, I definitely want to talk about her character design. So,
Now,
so
you remember when I said that it's not always the best characters, but the most... No, sorry, not always the good characters, but the most memorable ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maganai is a tall, thin schoolgirl in a black uniform with long braided hair, wearing a noose instead of the usual like ribbon kerchief thing, a red silk noose, with wearing a prayer gate for one earring, pentagrams inscribed in the back of her black leather gloves, shark's teeth, and snake eyes.
Yeah,
and I adore the way she's animated. She's the most interesting animated thing in the entire show. And
she's great.
She's like, there is a fluid wrongness to her. It's like watching a ballerina arachnid.
It's really
when she
weird.
walks around.
She's
it's
great.
And she's this cheerful, manic lunatic, just gleefully going about causing chaos and murdering, taking what she likes, never telling the truth because her special kooky power involves wordplay and lies. As long as she can make anything happen, as long as someone tells her she can't.
Basically, if she tells a lie and someone rejects it, she can then make the lie actually happen.
Yes.
I forget the exact phrase. It's like a lie about a lie turns in on itself, or something like that.
Yeah, a lie upon a lie twists inside out, something like that. Yeah.
It's a great it's a really good phrasing, and oh god, her ability is just so fucking busted, but it is so brilliantly limited at the same time.
Yes. Because all it takes is someone to be smart enough to keep their full mouth shut.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she's dealing with a lot of fucking heroes.
Yes.
Yeah, especially heroes from Battle Series.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's actually a great fight later on between her and Yuya when Meteora shows up and goes, "Stop talking to her. Her power involves telling lies and making them come true, and you deny them." And Yuya's like, "Right." And Magan just goes, "Oh, you figured it out! That isn't that great for you. Fuck you."
But Magane is ecstatic about being in this world because the goddamn detective she's up against in her series isn't here.
Yeah, there's no one to stop her, and there's so much more interesting stuff to do here than in her world.
Yep.
She's also instantly taken in by food. Specifically milk.
Yeah, she thinks milk's awesome.
Yeah, milk and snack food. Like, you constantly see her with like churros and shit like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she's initially approached by Mamika and Altair, and she's like, "You guys are great. I'm totally gonna fuck with you guys for about 20 minutes and try to get you to attack me. It's gonna be fun." At which point, our heroes show up, and a fight happens, and Mamika just Mamika or Magane, too many M names, sort of quietly fucks off to watch.
She thinks this is hilarious.
You literally end up getting. You literally get a little like face off where it turns to be Celestia versus Alastaria. You've got Mamika on one side trying to stop the fight. You've got Meteora, who's like also trying to stop the fight, but not as Mamika's proper like, "No, stop fighting, guys," and Meteora's just trying to work everything out. At the same time, Yuya shows up and he's fighting off the grizzled detective guy named Blitz.
Who shows up?
Who shows up?
Because
of course he does.
And all the while, Magane is just disappeared up a hill bank, sat down, and is watching all the fun.
Literally eating popcorn.
Yeah.
Well, before Mamika gets involved at all, like Magan is sitting there watching the fight between Altair and Celestia, and Mamika is like sort of freaking out, like trying to decide what to do, and Magan is like, "Aren't you going to get involved?" But what? She's trying to egg her on. It's great.
Yeah, you've got the power to stop them. All you have to do is have the courage to use it.
Such an evil manipulator.
She's great. And that's sort of the majority of the creations who show up. There are a few that show up later.
Yeah, they're not given enough time because they show up pretty late in the series.
Yep.
Although some of them are hilarious. Looking at you, dating sim character that shows up for no good reason.
Hoshikawa, yeah.
Poor Hoshikawa.
So, yeah. So there's a bunch of time where, we've got some minor conflicts going on, and, the hero's trying to figure out, okay, who the fuck is Altair? And Mamika figuring out, okay, like, Mamika eventually decides to...
Mamika decides to talk to Sota, our audience insert character, because Mamika's not an idiot despite being painfully naive.
Yes.
Because he's the one who's probably most knowledgeable of what's going on, and he's zero threat to her, and the one most likely to talk to her.
Yep.
So that's exactly what she does. She puts on a hoodie, tracks him down, and has a conversation with him in a coffee shop about what's going on, trying to figure out what the story is.
Well, because he's one of the denizens of this world who's been around all the big conflicts between the creations. He's almost always there. And so she's like, okay, I need to find out, like, what's going on. So they talk, and he basically fills in what he knows. She basically asks him, okay, look, tell me what's going on. Would you just tell me the truth? Do you know who the military uniform princess is? Because I think you do. What do you know about her? Because I need to know who the person I'm working with is, what she's actually about, because I've been way too fucking naive. And
clearly not everyone is who they say they are.
Right.
I mean, look at that fucking bearded bastard I'm working with. He just tried to kill someone knocked unconscious. I had to stop him.
Yeah.
He's supposed to... I'm on his side somehow. What's going on?
Right. Things are happening. I'm on the side of people with a bunch of people I'm not sure I should be on the same side with. And so Yuya, she gets him to agree to tell her the truth. We don't hear it during the scene.
Magan does.
What?
Magan does, though.
Magan, on the other hand, happens to have seen them like meet and follows them. Because she's like, "Oh, this is going to be interesting."
Magan, I'm convinced part of her power is just being in the right place for the right time to cause the most amount of mischief.
Probably.
She's for all intents and purposes a fucking chaos god.
Yeah,
she's the Joker. She's more like the. She's more like the trickster from The Flash.
A little bit. She's fucking Cube.
No. Cube did not enjoy what he did. Cube was incapable of enjoyment. That was part of the deal.
Magane's having fun.
Everything Magane does is in service to her having a good time.
Yeah. So she overhears all this, and Mamika decides, after hearing what Altair's deal is, like, okay, I'm going to go talk to Altair.
Clearly the poor thing needs to be saved. I can save her. That's why I'm here. That's why I do these things. That's what I do in my series. I save and redeem bad people.
Oh, poor Mamika.
Poor Mamika.
So she goes off to talk to Altair, and yeah, it goes about as well as you might expect.
Yeah, Altair kills her. Just straight up. She murders her. Mamika gets away, but the job is done. She's not surviving the wounds she's taken.
Yeah, she runs Mamika through with about 8 sabers.
Yeah.
Which doesn't stop Mamika from getting off one of her super attacks.
And then Mamika fucks off.
Yeah.
Desperately trying to find Alistaria to tell her, Okay, we're on the wrong side!
We're on the wrong side. You're a good guy. I know you're a good guy. I'm a good guy. We need to be on the good guy's side.
Altair's trying to destroy the world! We have to stop her! So she's flying through the air, bleeding profusely.
Happens to bleed on Magan's corn dog.
Maga's reaction is really, she looks at the corn dog as the blood drips on. She's like, huh. And then eats it.
And then follows the resulting blood trail.
She's like, huh, whatever, chomp.
Because Magan is awesome.
This looks interesting.
And she sees the dying and bleeding Mamika on the ground, and she's like, huh. And Mamika tries
I
dying.
wonder what happened to you. Why don't you tell me a story?
And Mamika basically gets her to tells her, promise me to go to find Altair and tell her this stuff, you know.
I have to find Meteora, so I have to find Meteora. Tell Altair that she needs to join Meteora, or tell Altair she needs to join Meteora. Altair's insane.
You know, and all this stuff, and she's dying, and Altair shows up and sees Magan there. She's like, okay, what did you do to her?
Not me. I didn't do this.
Nope. All right, tell me the truth. And she's like,
So Magan does in pure Cubase style. So, I don't remember the exact wording, but it went something along like this, and then she mentioned this person, and this happened, and yeah, it's sort of like that.
She says, you know, I heard the name. What I heard the name Meteora. I heard the name Insane, destroy the world, help somebody, save Altair. Stuff like that. She, you know, you can tell she's having trouble talking. She's, you know, dying. At which point, you know, Mamika dies.
Right. And then Altair is very upset and goes off to have a conversation with Meteora. And as soon as Altair is off screen, Magan starts scratching herself. Oh my god, not telling a lie makes me so itchy.
That's the crazy thing, though. She didn't tell the truth, but she didn't tell a lie.
Yeah, everything she said was factual.
It was an utter lie.
Everything she said was factually true, but it was a gigantic lie. It was beautiful.
Yeah, she pulls a great Cubase, what it boils down to.
Yeah. Everything is true, nothing is true.
Yeah, so
this leads to a big old fight, where Magan tracks down Sota and basically says, so here's the deal. I know your dirty little secret. I'm going to tell everybody, unless you tell everybody that Meteora killed Mamika. It's like, oh, what? And well, Magan is really good at manipulating people and pushing their emotional buttons and twisting the psychic knife. So Soda's pretty broken by the time Yua shows up to pull him out of it.
Yeah. He basically shows up and is like, okay, dude, don't listen to her.
Why would you listen to her? Look at her. She's like if a fox and a snake had sex and put on a schoolgirl uniform. You can't trust her.
But yeah, Meteora shows up also.
Yes.
Because before this, he basically tries to tell Meteora what about you know, Altair and such, but he can't get it out.
Because, like I said, tremendous amounts of guilt and shame. And even tries doing the friend of a friend ask this thing, and yeah, never mind.
But he basically he's breaking down, and Meteora, bless her, is like, I knew there was something more you want to say, and I couldn't bring myself to ask, but I thought it would help you. But I was wrong.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
should have
so
pushed you.
sorry.
I was trying to give you space to put it, and I should have pushed it out of you. I'm sorry.
Because one of the things has been going on is the friendship between Meteora and Sota is actually one of the more interesting things in the show, honestly.
Yes,
because it's really
Meteora's a goddamn sweetheart.
Yeah, she is
Great.
But the thing is, it's like, you know, it really looks like at first like it's going to be the big sort of driving friendship for the hero side is going to be between Sota and Celestia, but it's not.
Right.
It's Sota and Meteora.
Yes.
I think
and
really
Meteora is she's. Yeah, one of the things I love about Meteora is she's a giant sweetheart, this giant wellspring of empathy and compassion, all delivered in a complete deadpan.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's because
and she's also hilarious.
Oh God,
well,
yes.
Yeah. It's because her role. I mean, her role in the game was she was basically an expo dump.
Yep.
Yeah, she didn't have she didn't have a voice actor.
Yeah. So she was all about, you know, dispensing knowledge. So she talks at length. But and it's showing this from the first episode we meet her, that she. I mean, one of the episode titles is like something along the lines of "Nice try, but that wasn't funny."
Right.
She
makes
tries
a terrible pun.
She makes a terrible joke, and no one gets it. And we see through her just through her language and the way she talks, she doesn't overly express herself, but just in the way that she speaks, you can see her evolve. She's really cleverly written.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you showed up. Well, I want it to be a surprise. Surprises are important in life. Okay.
But yeah, she basically takes time to while you know Yuya and Magane are squaring off. She takes time to actually, you know, to comfort Sota and basically say, "Look, you tell me everything later." Like, he tells her some of the basics, and she's like, "Okay, I understand. Well, give us the full details later. But right now, you got to get out of here."
Yeah, you got to get gone because shit's going down. And you think that Yuya would make short work of Magane, but you're underestimating the fact that Magane has the grace of an arachnid ballerina and basically just taunts him and dodges all his attacks.
Well, she's literally the fox.
Yeah.
You know, she's the Japanese legend of the fox. She's all lies and tricks and
she's got some elements of Kitsune about her.
Yeah, Kitsune,
absolutely.
She, you know, trying to hit her is like catching mist.
Yeah. And, you know, she's taunting the whole time, trying to get him to provoke him into a situation where she can use her ability. Which she does.
Because he's Yuya, who can't keep his mouth shut.
Right.
Because he's from a battle manga.
And she managed to get herself immune to the main energy range attacks from his sword. And he's like, fuck.
Something really simple is like, it's like something on the lines of, you know, it's like, oh, I'm not scared of you, little stick. I know it can't do any damage to me. And he's like, yeah, fuck you. Of course it can't.
Oh yeah, we'll eat this. And boom, thank you. A lie about a lie turns in upon itself. Oh. Which is when Meteora shows up and tells him, "Oh, you idiot."
Yeah.
Like, keep your mouth shut fighting her.
Yeah, it's like, well, you might as well go away, or at the very least not fight her with your sword, because you basically can't hurt her with that now.
He's like, fine. At which point he summons his stand to go fight her.
It's a great bit where he starts trying to provoke Meteora. Meteora just gives her a look. And she tries again. I'm not falling for that. Oh, you figured it out, you little bitch.
Yeah. Oh, you're no fun.
But yeah, one of the other important bits about Magane's interactions with Sota, because they pop up a few times from here.
Yeah, she constantly pops up to basically torment him.
Kinda, because she's taken a real interest in him. But there's a weird. It's not just that it's not just torment. There's a weird, almost seductive quality with her conversations with him.
Yeah.
Because she sees something in him that she feels sort of akin to with him.
Yes, there's something about him that she's clearly he interests her like few other people around here. Otherwise, he'd probably already be dead.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah, this is the thing. So we never actually see her use her abilities on him.
Well, not
Well,
until
she doesn't
the
need
very
to.
end.
All she needs to do is talk circles around him.
Yeah.
No, I mean we've seen it. We've seen a whim just use her powers just to randomly murder people. Hell, her own creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not entirely sure what she did to him other than that he hung himself.
Yeah.
But the thing with it is, the reasoning I had in my head is that she comes from a world, again, it's a story world, so it's very black and white. She is the master of lies. Therefore, for the most part, I'd imagine everyone else, I won't say tells the truth, but they're much more honest. Whereas she's now in the real world, and she's met this kid who has this whole bunch of friends, but he's keeping this massive secret that she knows, and in her mind, he's lying to them all. Every time they ask that question, who is she? He says he doesn't know. He's lying to them. That is immensely interesting to her.
Right.
Because he's very clearly a good kid.
Yeah, he's clearly a good kid. He clearly wants to help them out, but can't bring himself to lay it out. And she finds this fascinating. She finds him fascinating. His whole situation to be that really cool and interesting, and she wants to figure it out. She wants to understand, and develops a twisted kind of affection for him.
It's warped as fuck, but
Yes, but she clearly likes him.
Yeah, as I said, there are definite elements of seduction in the way she talks with him. Like,
Yes.
Jesus.
Oh, the one scene where she basically like ends up twining her legs around his head.
Yeah.
Which is sexy and terrifying all at the same time.
Because that's who Magan is. I mean,
Yes.
that's clearly what her design is designed to invoke. It's just like, whoa, she's great. But yeah. So Altair shows. Basically, the fight with Magan goes on for a while, and eventually Altair shows up to confront Meteora for killing Mamika. And Meteora's like, no.
What gave you that stupid idea?
Roar
Don't try
smash.
to lie to me! Magan, I saw everything! Seriously? You're trusting that one?
Oh.
That is the one fault in that entire scene. I mean, I understand that Alastaria is angry and upset.
She's angry and upset and grieving and blinded by her... And angry at herself, clearly angry at herself as much as anything else, because she let herself have a friend, and now that friend's dead.
Yep. But also, I mean, there's the fact that she can't yet accept the fact that she's chosen the wrong side.
Yes.
B, she's desperately hoping that... Part of it is that she's still desperately hoping that Altair is not lying to her about what their goals are and that it's possible. She desperately wants to save her world.
Yes.
And she has, and clearly, if the other people are opposed to my side, they're clearly the bad guys. They gotta be. I can't be on the side of the bad guys. I can't be. Mamika could not have been on the side of the bad guys.
Blitz, maybe Blitz. No one really gets along with Blitz except for Altair. Altair.
Yeah. And yeah, so she basically has beaten Meteora up because Meteora, she's got good defensive magic and she can fly and she's got some useful other spells. She doesn't really have much in the way of offense.
Right. In fact, it's one of the things that that keeps on coming up is she has to get permission to raid the armory with her teleport magic.
Yeah. She
did it once, and they're like, you just blew like 6 billion yen on those ATVs, right? or AVMs, and she's like, I had no idea that they were that expensive. I apologize.
I'm really sorry.
They do a great scene where they're going through like the list of things she's cost, and Meteora was like, I move for the charges to be waived due to exceptional circumstances in the defense of the world. Okay, yeah, she starts going for this whole tirade of like raising almost like a political motion, just to get out of paying all this fucking debt. God damn it!
Yeah.
If Kikuchihara doesn't let her twist in the wind for a while,
she does. But what resolves it is Meteora actually just apologizing. She's like, Kikuchihara's like, yeah, I was. Why didn't you start with that? She's like,
I'm not good at things.
So yeah, but the conflict. So Altair is about to basically wax Meteora when Sota actually shows up and gets in the way because he's had a conversation with Altair before this.
Yes, and he had a pretty long conversation with Mamika, which is what this particular fight's all about.
Right, and because he basically he really respects Altair as a heroine, and and he loves that series because
he's just like, yeah, your world sucks, but every time something terrible happens, you fight against it. That inspires me to go forward in my own life.
And this is the first moment of okay, then for sort of the first crack in Altair's worldview.
Yes,
about the world she's been summoned to, because she's like,
clearly we suffer simply for their debased enjoyment. Why else would someone do this? It hadn't occurred to her that it was inspiration, that her rising up against these odds was inspirational to other people.
And she doesn't consider herself particularly strong, but she keeps failing to save the people she wants to save at the time.
Right.
She's never can get there quite at the right time. And so it's like, no, the fact that you keep trying is really fucking amazing. And she's like, you don't give up. And so he's standing in the way, and she's actually she's sort of, she doesn't want to hurt Sota because,
because he's just a kid.
A, he's just a kid, and B,
he's clearly the type of people that she defends in her own world.
Right. And like she's like, get out of the way. And he's like, would you get out of the way if you were defending a friend? If this is your friend? And she's like, At which point Meteora's like, look, so no, just get out of the way, kid.
Get out of the way.
We have to talk. I have to talk with Altair. And she tries to explain. She basically is like, look, why? No, I didn't kill her. I wouldn't kill her. I would never do that.
Which just sets Altair off again.
Yeah, you're a lying sorceress bitch. Fuck you.
At which point, because no one's an idiot, they called in support.
Yep.
Celestia, thank you. And the other creators show up in a hatchback, because of course they do. And she gets in the fight to save Meteora from Altair. And then Altair shows up, because, things weren't going badly beforehand.
Yep.
Like they had their big fight, and like Altair and Celestia. Celestia, I can talk.
I know.
Have that big, great that big fight where both their weapons clash, except Celestia's sword turns to rose petals, and she takes a lance in the gut. And we look up, and there's Altair.
Yep. So yeah, Celestia's in bad shape.
Yeah,
And the look
Altair
on...
just took a core sample of her intestines.
Yeah. Alasteria's face at that moment is just a look of anguish and horror.
Yes.
Because this is not what she wanted. And the other thing is that, like, it's been abundantly clear that in terms of raw power, Celestia is not on Alsteria's level in terms of raw sort of offensive power because she doesn't have her mech.
Right. A lot of her powers are tied to her mech.
But in terms of raw like weapon skill, they are equals, like dead even. And like you can see that part of Altair is like relishing this chance to test her blade against someone who's her equal. There's definitely an element of that there. And also, she doesn't really want to kill Celestia because, why? And like the only reason she wants to kill Meteora is she's convinced that Meteora killed Mamika. Otherwise, she wouldn't be interested in killing her.
And it's offensive to her that someone would get involved in her duel and she'd win as a result of that interference.
Right. There's a lot of different levels of conflict going through her at that moment.
Yeah. And then, of course, Blitz shows up because, things are going to hell, so Blitz has to show up.
Yeah.
In order to make them worse.
And he's going to show up. He's there to basically finish. He shows up. He's like, okay, well, Alsteria's not going to finish off Celestia. I'll do it. And Meteora, I'll do it. Yuya shows up again to say, no, you don't.
You and I have not finished our previous argument.
And Blitz is like,
I have a rebuttal for your last comment there.
Blitz's reaction is, oh, of course he shows up now. And the mech shows up with, I can't remember his name anymore.
Starts with the K.
Kanoya.
Kanoya,
Kanoya
and his mech show up. So Altair summons a duplicate of it because
Altair cheats.
Yep, and we find out why in not that long after this, honestly.
Yes.
And
so previously there's been an attempt to test how far someone can edit one of the creations in our that have crossed over into our world by having Meteora and Marine basically write a quick scene and illustrate it and see what happens. And it flopped. And this is how they establish, okay, this is clearly there needs to be more acceptance. People have to believe that this is a possibility. You can't just go and change things willy-nilly. You have to accept these changes and believe that there's a plausible thing that can happen to the character. So what happens is Meteora posts the art and the thing on a message board saying, hey, I was thinking about making these changes. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, possible. This is a new character design for Celestia that we're thinking about for next season.
Yeah, imagine this is like one of the leading artists of today just dropping a design brief on fucking DeviantArt.
Yeah.
He's just dumped it on the nearest the first message board he came across. And it's Japan. He goes like fucking wildfire.
Within seconds, it's being posted on news sites, and
yep.
Well, it turns out that everyone's so excited by this that it actually provides Celestia a bit of a boost.
Yeah, she actually transforms into the revised image.
Yep, and gains the super awesome fire powers that was part of the quick short story. And proceeds to turn the fight around. Which point Altair is like, really? Okay, guess I get to flex my muscles, and she starts glitching out. Nope, can't flex them now. If I try it, then I'll get booted. So we're going to retreat for now. But don't worry, all of this serves my ends.
So, yeah.
At which point the revised character design and the fire powers promptly stopped working because it was just a quick boost.
Because it wasn't actual permanent changed character. This was a, hey, what do you guys think about this?
You're right.
It's not accepted canon.
Right. So, yeah, Celestia drops over again with a giant hole in her gut.
Right. Both her and
Turns out
Meteora need to spend some time in the hospital.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, turns out creations are relatively tough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, they're basically human, but they're...
They have a degree of plot armor, even in the real world.
Yes. Yes, they have plot armor. Thank you.
Yeah, so, yeah. Also, Magan has stolen Yuya's stand.
For no other reason than she could.
Yeah,
Literally because she thought it would be hilarious.
Yeah, and
she's right.
Because she got him to say that she couldn't.
Right.
Right. Basically, by taunting him, oh, look at you and that dead general there. You guys got... It's not like that at all. Oh, it's not. Well, if you don't like her, I get along pretty well with demons and ghosts. I could give her a good home. You cannot have her. Well, a lie upon a lie. A lie about a lie turns upon itself.
At which point they cut away.
Yes.
Oh, God. So, yeah,
So at this point, as our heroines on the mend...
We've got to the halfway point of the season at this point.
Yeah. At this point, as our heroes are on the mend, our government officials have finally tracked down what Altair's deal is.
Well, they tracked down her name before that.
Yes.
But they had a name for the pen name for her creator. It's like, okay, who the Altair? It's like someone the guy who made the mecha anime.
Right.
Give me a second. Nakanagane.
Yeah, Nakanagane actually found Altair.
Yes.
Because he was like, I know I've seen something like this somewhere, and there are like tons of character designs that have elements that are similar, and eventually he found this video. It's like, you see, she's actually like a secondary creation. She's some fan, came up with an alternate version of this character from another series.
And it went no further than an anime music video.
Right.
Which somebody posted up online.
But then we need to find this person, and that's when Sota says, "Yeah, I know who it is." And
well, that discussion happened before this. This is where Sota actually walked out on the meeting and such.
Right.
But afterwards, like Soda's like, okay, guys, I got something to tell everybody, and I'm sorry. I know who Altair is. I know who created her. You guys had the pen name, you couldn't find who it was. Yeah, she was like one of my best friends.
And she's dead.
And it's kind of my fault.
And here's the thing, that basically her and Sota had made up on basically what amounts to deviant art, trading fan art. He was completely like floored by her artwork, and they meet and they hang out, and maybe a bit of a romance happening there. But as they chat, and then she starts hitting it like actually big, like in the industry, like producers and other people are talking to her about doing character design work. And he starts feeling more than a little jealous of her. And then rumors start flying around about like her plagiarizing stuff, and things start getting pretty mean. And she reaches out to him for a bit of help, and he's just like, I've never been in that situation, don't ask me. Because A, he's a bit socially awkward. 2, he... not a small amount of schadenfreude involved, because he, like I said, didn't want to be left behind. Like, she was taking off and becoming becoming a force to be reckoned with in exactly the field he always wanted to be involved in, and there's a little bit of that, well, why not me? And what makes her so special? And he becomes more most of their communication is via text messages and emails and the like.
And he never reached. He's basically at this point had stopped contacting her, and it was entirely her getting in contact with him initially. At this point,
yes, and yeah, it becomes his responses become more curt and less empathetic, and occasionally just kind of mean.
He never gets the same sort of he early on like sees the claims of plagiarism and such, and he's like wants to say something
clearly false. Like I was there when she drew it.
Like he's like I should say something, but I don't want to get involved in this, and there's part of me that
I'm afraid I'll make it worse. Like if I say something, I'm only like this might die down on its own, but if I say something, it's going to become a flame war because trolls.
And there's part of him that is a little sort of pleased to see it because, as Eric said, he kind of is feeling left behind.
Yeah.
And she eventually sort of sends him. He eventually stumbles across a message she sent him on DeviantArt with the basically saying this is this is something I did, and the thing she did with this producer.
Mm.
And she wanted him to see it, and it's probably the last time she contacted him. And which is the video in question.
Right.
Yeah, that was like right before she killed herself.
Mm.
Yeah, she basically sends him reading between the lines, it's clearly a suicide note. And without actually coming out and saying, I'm killing myself today, later.
Yeah.
It's kind of a, I really had fun with the times we had, blah, 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 goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah. And then her mom calls him to let him know what happens, and he just... At this point, we switch back to the real world, and he's bawling his eyes out, both in shame and grief and all these other things, and everyone's... To Matsubura's credit, he goes, dude, I've been there, but that was fucking cold.
Yeah.
Because Matsubura's not wrong. It's like, yeah, I've been there, and I've done kind of the same thing, but that doesn't mean it wasn't cold.
Yeah, he's something on the lines of, I'm not going to stand here and say that if I was in your position, I wouldn't do the same thing. But, yeah...
And that's the moment that solidified Matsubura as my favorite character, honestly. Because he's like, yeah, I can't say I wouldn't have reacted the same way, because I'm pretty sure I almost have a few times, but dude, that was cold.
Yeah.
But he also says that, somebody asks him about whether, whether he's feeling, about the shame and the guilt and all the rest of it. And Matsubura again just turns around and says, dude, if you weren't feeling those things, I wouldn't want to be in the fucking same room as you right now.
Yeah, the fact that you do feel bad about this, that you do acknowledge that it was fucked up and wrong, says that you're not a bad person, you just fucked up.
Yeah. So yeah, because he's in the room with all these other, mangaka and writers and animators and the creations. You've got, Celestia is there in her wheelchair. Because this is only like a day later. She's already up to the point where she can be around in her wheelchair.
and credit where credit is due. Once again, Meteora is the first one to give him a hug and tell him and give him words of encouragement and comfort. Because Meteora is fucking awesome.
Yes.
And that's when we learned that, not only the meaning of the suicide that is the first scene of the series, we also learned the nature of Altair and that she's a fucking meme.
Yeah, Altair's not really a character; she's a concept.
She, other people have gone and run with the idea and produced their own quick little shorts and fan
because
art.
that little short video took fucking off.
Yes.
Plus, I'm not sure if they mention it, but whether the whole suicide thing was connected to that image, because that character just fucking, fan art and side stories and fan fiction and all this kind of shit, she basically becomes, and as I said during as we were watching it, she is the most Mary Sue of Mary Sues.
Yes. And part of that is because Altair, there's no canon for Altair. Everything's canon.
Yes. She has no established story, therefore anything written about her is canon.
Yes.
So she's immensely popular amongst amongst
her niche.
Yeah. But there's no fixed canon for her, as Gav and Eric have said. So yeah.
Anything written about her becomes part of her, including the multitude of bullshit powers that people keep writing for her.
Like, even Altair at one point says, like, I'm gaining powers so quickly, I don't know what I can do right now.
Look, this is when we learned that, and we just sat down and looked at her, the character, and thought, yeah, she's massively overdesigned. Virtually no actual emotion, barring a few cool lines and stereotypical backstory traits, and all the powers in the world. She's every fucking 12-year-old's Mary Sue.
Yep.
My original content, don't steal.
Yes. Yes.
The thing is, we also know what Altair's motivations are at this point. Why she wants to blow up the world. Because Altair has has real fondness for her creator. And this world basically drove her creator to suicide. So fuck it.
So I will unmake the world because no world should exist that would do that to someone. And she's not wrong in the sentiment. The world is a pretty shitty place a lot of the times. And Altair's big limitation is she can't see everything that makes the world worthwhile. Like, we never see Altair eating or drinking. We never see her marveling at these simple pleasures of a multifaceted, layered world.
Well, yeah, and part of that's because she's not a character.
Right. There's no place for her to grow from or to.
Yep. And so we get to the point where they actually start coming up with their actual plan to beat Altair.
Yes. So they come to the realization that because Altair's a meme, that a head-on actual confrontation isn't going to. So what they decide to do is do a giant crossover multimedia blitz with all of the creations that they've discovered so far and any more that might pop up. Setting things up for a big final movie that is wherein Altair will be defeated somehow. And all of this set up to create enough interest and acceptance and adoration in the system in the heroes so that they will be able to do so.
Yeah. It's literally building it all up and writing. This is what I mentioned earlier about them asking for the creators and the writers to produce something really quick, because they had to build up all the prequel material, all the subplots, all the intertwining of the worlds, and the twists and turns that bring everything to this point. We don't see any of that. We see the mangaka working together to create it and driving each other fucking nuts. But
yes, with some other great scenes.
Yeah, but eventually what their plan is to get it all together. They have a huge event in the middle of a huge arena where the audience will be witness to the premiere showing of the anime movie, air quote, air quote, air quote, which is in no way a live feed to the battle that's going on, hoping that the thoughts, feelings, and acceptance of the crowd will produce some fucking anime miracle and everyone will go Super Saiyan.
The whole time it's being that the whole fight's being blocked off and set up in something they refer to as a birdcage. There's a little pocket dimension that they'll set up, so that they're not actually stressing reality too hard and doing
They're
this.
also not trashing reality,
and they're not Yeah, and they're not actually causing a huge amount of collateral damage.
Yeah. So yeah, this leads to final confrontation. Now, three more creations do show up.
Yes.
One is the main character from Yuya's series shows up and joins with Altair because
Ro, is it? Or Rio?
Show.
Yes,
Show
shows
I remember
up.
that because it's monosyllable.
He shows up and
syllable.
he sides with Altair because Altair tells him that Yuya's here and he's there. Oh, I gotta get that motherfucker.
He's your typical. This is the thing though. He's your typical protagonist. This is why I thought it was a video game and not a manga, because he literally starts repeating the same lines over and over. At one point, he's talking to Blitz, and I swear to God, he says the same 2 or 3 lines at least 4 times, and it's usually along the lines, "I've got to get revenge on Yuya for
You
killing
killed
my
sister and best friend." Yes.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, we'll go down the thing. It's like, but I mean, what we need to do is we'll follow a plan. It's like, okay, I'm fine with that, but I need to get revenge on Yuya for killing my sister and best friend. It's like, dude, how many lines of dialogue did they write you?
But yeah, so the plot in the manga is that, Yuya basically they were sort of rival friends, and then eventually Yuya left the group after killing Sho's best friend and his sister. And this is when they discover their stand abilities. At about this point, there's some old alchemist dude who basically tells Sho about his. The other 2 characters who show up, one of them is Charon. We don't see him till later, a little bit later. Whom we'll mention who that is in a second. If you're watching the series, you've heard his name a few times, a bunch.
Yeah, you figured it out by this point. Yeah.
The other is the dating sim character that we mentioned.
Yes.
Poor girl.
Hoshikawa.
Hoshikawa.
She shows up and she's your typical, like, she shows up, she's found a lost kid who she's trying to take to the police station with a lost puppy in hand and just trying to be nice and helpful, and it's like, excuse me, I don't know where I am, can you help me? And you could just, I missed it to start off with, but these 2 spotted it straight away. The look of her, the uniform, everything else, is like, yeah, she's from a dating sim, isn't she?
Now, it turns out she's from the all-ages version of... because apparently she's a recurring character in a series of dating sims. The original of which were adults, shall we say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she is really embarrassed about all of this.
Yeah, well, imagine, your entire existence is based around your love life. We've seen
everything. So she shows up, and like half the creators that we have names for go, "Oh yeah, I know her." Oh crap! That means we're gonna have to call this guy.
Well, a couple of times they're like really casually referencing things that happened to. She's like, "Wait, what? Oh yeah, it was over at so and so. That was the first time you and so whack."
Celestia, bless her heart, just keeps shutting the creators down for saying
you can't say that in front of.
Don't say that in front of this poor girl. Come on. Like, the first time it's understandable, but after that, come on.
There's a great scene a little bit earlier on with Celestia where somebody's going. I think it's Marine is going on about how excited she is to meet, this creation. It's like, oh God, about all the things that have, how did you feel when so and so died? She's like, wait, he dies? Oh,
yeah, and then your best friend betrays you for the Avalon Brigade. What? No, stop!
Like,
I don't want to know.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, you're from the anime. You don't know what happens in the novel.
It's like, oh. Yeah.
Most of them at least have looked up, if not their own, they've looked up each other's stories.
Yeah.
Or at least
Meteora actually goes to find her creator early on, discovers that he died in a car crash, and resolves to just spend a whole day playing through her game.
Yes.
And decides, you know what? I'm okay. He clearly put a lot of love into crafting this world, and that makes me happy.
Yep.
Not all of them have had the balls to or even the inclination in Yuya's case, to look at their own story for the fear of spoilers. But they've all at least had a glance at each other's.
Yeah.
To get an idea of each other and that sort of thing.
Yeah, Meteora's read a bunch of them. Magane's read gone out and researched all of them that she's found, because of course she has.
Yes.
Altair's very clearly aware of all of them.
Yes.
Oh, God. But yeah, so they have to bring in the dating sim creator. And oh, God.
And he is exactly the stereotype of what you think a dating sim creator would be.
Oh, my God, yes.
He's loud, he's brash, he's a giant chode.
And oh my God, his reaction. What? Yeah, weirdly in some ways. He has his moments, I'll put it that way.
Nishio, I think he's called.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's immediately infatuated with his creation, and then he's like, "Oh my God, it's Celestia also. Oh, my wife who are here." It's like, "Oh God, of course he's like that."
What?
The government rep, I heard, her name. Kukuchihara. She basically just slaps the table and starts talking at him. He immediately is cowed. It's beautiful.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh God, right? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, okay."
Kukuchihara is not to be fucked with.
No. She's great, but so yeah, so they rapidly accelerate into we rapidly accelerate into the there's a lot of talking about what's happening, which is actually fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. The background look into it. There's a great fucking line that I just love to think about. Where they have a bathhouse episode, because of course they do, a hot spring thing, and they're talking about the party they're gonna have, like the launch party of the event, and what's his name? Kanoya's like, what do you mean a party? A premiere. He goes, "Oh, it's to build up hype, to build up a bit more attention and all this. We have a big party and throw a big bash, and we invite the animators and the studio heads and the voice actors and all the rest of it." He's, "Oh, cool. I wonder if my voice actor's going to be there." And I just thought of that line. As a voice actor, in a studio, acting as your character, wondering if you're going to go to a party.
And then someone says, "Your voice actor is actually a girl," and he's like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah.
Like I say, the little bits of pulling back the curtain, so to speak. I mean, I know the fictional characters they're using in this context, but seeing the interactions between the mangaka alone is great.
Oh, they're great.
Yes.
Their level of insecurity about their own abilities regard to their peers.
There's a fantastic little setup that they do where Blitz's creator
and Marine, yeah.
And Marine.
Yeah.
Blitz's creator, which is...
Oh, she's awesome. I can't remember her name.
Suruga.
Yes.
Suruga, yeah.
Suruga. She is she's always drawing. She's almost always got a pad in hand and her arms away, just drawing shit all the time. And her,
why her hands haven't turned into claws, I don't know.
Yeah, Marine already stated that she's seen her work and she was, really impressed with it. She does crisp line work and all this sort of stuff. And throughout the entire thing, Marine's like watching a drawing all the time. She comes over and borrows one of Marine's pens. She's like, "Oh wow, this is a nice pen." Starts drawing. It's like, "Oh wow, this is awesome." And Marine's like, "Oh god." Gets up and walks out.
Because the thing is, Marine she's really good, but she takes a long time for her to get her stuff done.
Mm.
Because she puts a lot of detail into her work, and it's it takes a lot of time. She's not a fast illustrator.
She does a lot of planning also.
Yeah, right.
Like it takes her planning's the wrong word. It takes her a while to get into the zone.
Right.
Well, she does a lot of rough sketches first, whereas
Yes.
some artists can just draw it off the cuff.
And like you're
which
watching
Suguru
Suguru
can.
just like whipping out like concept art like left and right, just. And Martin is just like,
Without even
holy
so
fuck.
much as like a few quick lines to establish stuff, and I've seen that, and I'm totally in Marines camp. It's like, you fucking bastard.
Why are you so
Any idea
good?
How long this takes me?
Why are you so fast and so good? But there's a wonderful flip to this where you actually Suguru is talking to Blitz, I think, and how just completely in awe of Marine's art she is.
Yes.
She's like, I know she's like freaked out by my speed, and but I look at her stuff, and it's just gorgeous.
It's just great that they do
Yeah.
a huge they do a huge thing with this entire series, mostly related around Sota, but it also shows up with the others that no one is truly happy with their own work.
Right.
Everyone is, they say the line, everyone stinks to begin with.
Yep.
No one is ever happy with their finished article. Everyone thinks everyone else is better than them. And it's a great little, even the writers are the same. They butt heads because one's idea the other thinks is shit, and vice versa, and it's just bouncing around. The artists are not at heads with each other, but they're both so in awe of each other, they think they're inadequate to be near the other one.
Yeah, there's actually a great bit where Matsubara comes up with an idea to resolve a plot twist that needs to happen. And what's his name? Yuya's creator.
Yotoji.
Toji, right. Yeah, Toji basically reads it, goes, "That's crap, fuck you." And they butt heads and they argue, and then Yotoji leaves. Later on, Yotoji comes back with the piece of paper he had thrown away and goes, "Okay, you just really need to do this. Sorry, I was just beating my head against this problem. Your plan was better than mine. I got upset."
Well, he also has the line, it's like, yeah, I didn't say it was a terrible idea. He never said it was shit. It's like, it won't work. And Matsubara took it as reading the guy, you think my idea is terrible. And it's like, no, that's not what I meant. I know I didn't say it well.
But Toji's also hot-headed and arrogant on the surface.
Yeah.
But he's kind of fundamentally, insecure, particularly with his own feelings.
The reason for that is there's also that butting heads in the anime industry where Matsubara is a salaried worker with a steady job, with a steady contract to keep making this series, whereas Yotoji is not. He's like he says, if he stops working, he doesn't eat.
Right.
He can't take a hiatus like you guys can. He can't take a vacation. He has to keep working and just to put food on the table and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I get paid per page, so
yeah. And it's that little bit of conflict within the industry that's, like I said, they include all this while this huge fucking end of the world thing is going on.
It's actually really interesting.
And
this is where the line, and
yeah,
where the line, the end of the world one
realized.
Thing. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Gav. I didn't realize I was talking over you.
It's like I said, this is where that line came from earlier. The end of the world's one thing, but a deadline is another.
Yes. and like I was saying, all of the characters, even the ones that don't get much screen time, are all wonderfully well realized. And show a great amount of depth for the amount of screen time they're given.
Mm-hmm.
I could hear Peter.
What?
I could hear Peter thinking, except for one.
What? No. I don't have issues with one character in this series, and it's not an important one.
Not at all.
I'm not lying. Anyways,
so on to the finale then.
Yep. So we have the big finale in the birdcage. And we have all the big fights going on, which are just a hoot to watch.
Yeah, Alistaria flips sides in the middle of the fight, which had been her plan for for a long time, which she had communicated to her creator, whom they eventually pick up.
Right. Oh, the other important bit is she actually goes to talk to Magane again.
Mm.
She goes to Magane for help.
Yes.
And Magane's like, the fuck? This is after Magane, who's in like a penthouse suite, has gotten out of bathing in a pool in a bathtub full of money.
Yes.
You know what? Taking a bath in money was nowhere near as much fun as I thought it'd be. Pulls off a wet dollar bill.
She's like, maybe it'd have been more fun if I'd done it in front of poor people.
Yes,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Because this is exactly the kind of asshole she is. Again,
So Altair finds her and approaches us like, "Hey, I need you to do some shit." I'm not going to do any shit. Well, of course you're not. Of course you're not going to do any shit. You're just going to do whatever's the most fun. Well, of course I'm going to do whatever's the most fun. So why don't you just do what's most fun? I'm not going to do what's the most fun. Okay, don't do what's the most. Fuck you.
it's wonderful to see because Magane's like, wait, are you fucking with me? Are you fucking with me? This is amazing!
She thinks it's great because Altair is so forthright and upfront about everything. Playing word games, trying to play word games with Magan and not sucking at it. She thinks it's amazing.
It's like, wait, I thought that lance was shoved all the way up your ass. Apparently it's not. Huh. Well, all right then. Are you sure you want me to do whatever the hell I want?
Yeah. Just do it. Yeah, do whatever's the most fun.
Okay.
Because Altair is aware that the world ends, then Magan can't have any more fun.
Yep. Yeah. So most of the creations are sealed off inside into the birdcage, with two notable exceptions. One is Meteora, who's the one running the whole thing.
3, actually.
3?
Yes, Meteora, who's running the whole thing via her techno magic spell.
Magan
thing.
and who else?
Blitz.
You're right. Blitz is not. You're right. I forgot that. Yep. Yeah. So there's a bit where Blitz is talking with Altair, where Altair basically tells him, you don't have to be at the final battle. In fact, you shouldn't be. Go do the thing you really came here to do. Which is go kill his creator, because
we see a brief flashback to the point at which Blitz was taken out of his story, wherein he and the main character in his story are walking through a hallway and come across the mad scientist that they've been chasing. His injury is like, aha! Everything's been put into motion, and soon everything will be destroyed because blah blah blah, maniacal laughter or whatever. Blitz puts a bullet in his head. And then they turn and see the control rig for whatever the mad scientist has done includes Blitz's daughter jacked into it. When I say jacked into it, she's been cybernetically implanted into it.
Her face looks almost like a China doll's with pipework just running through hollows.
Yeah, most of her torso is gone and replaced with piping.
Yeah, and literally the only way to stop this machine from basically doing whatever awful thing it's going to be doing is to kill the girl.
Yeah, destroy the control circuit, which is her. So Blitz does it.
There's a moment. It's actually a really well done moment because Blitz is like, "Oh my god," and his partner's like, "Okay, Blitz, you shouldn't be the one to do this. No, I'll take care of it." And Blitz is like, "No, it's got to be her father."
Yeah.
And yeah, so Blitz is quite pissed off with his creator for putting him in a situation where he had to kill his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when it turns out as well that he finds out he's not even the main character in his story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a sidekick.
And so he has the conversation. Like, why would you do this?
Because basically Blitz finds Suya like in a locker room in the basement, or Subaru, smoking, waiting for him.
Yep, she's waiting for him. She knew this was coming.
Because she wrote him as like this is exactly what he'd do during the climax. It's what I would write.
This thing, Suruga is a complete and utter asshole.
Yes, she's great.
Even though she knows what he's coming to do, it's like he starts saying things and he starts monologuing, and she starts finishing his sentences.
Yes,
it's like, what sort of witch are you then to know what I'm going to say? She goes, well, fuck, I created you. That's how I write it.
I'm your god.
Yeah.
She's the only one of the creators to use that phrase.
Yeah.
She's not saying it arrogantly. She's just saying it.
It's matter of fact.
That's how I write your dialogue.
Right.
No, but the I'm your god thing is literally just matter of fact. Like, I'm your god. Yeah.
I'm your god. Of course.
I'm an asshole, but I'm your god.
Yeah. Sucks to be you.
Why would you do this? Well, it made for the most interesting story. At which point he shoots her.
What? Yeah, at which point he shoots her.
And she's like, oh, God, that hurt.
He doesn't kill her, he gut shots her.
Right,
so
because...
continue talking. And she's coughing up blood and not having a good time. But a smile never leaves her face because she's having a lot of fun tormenting her creation.
It goes on for a while, and Blitz comes out with a line something along the lines of, now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down there, I'm going to find all your... I'm going to put a bullet in your head first, then I'm going to go find all your friends, and I'm going to do the same to them. And then I'm going to help Altair...
I'm going to help Altair destroy the world.
Destroy the world for the sake of my daughter. And Saruga's like, well, that's a kind of a monotonous. That's kind of an obvious monotonous plan.
That's not how I'd write it at all.
Yeah, that's not how I'd write it. If I was writing it, I'd say what you're going to do is you're actually going to turn around, you're going to help us beat Altair for the sake of your daughter. Why the hell would I help you for the sake of my daughter? And at that point, the stormtrooper, the SWAT team run in, draw their guns on Blitz, and behind them
is Blitz's daughter.
And he's like, what? She's dead. I killed her. And Saruga just takes a cigarette out of her mouth. I am your god.
I mean, I could... Like, it was tough to bring her back. It was really hard. There are no mages or anything, or cloning tech in your world. But we were doing a crossover.
So we had a crossover with her, where the portal thing that she was tied to ended up sucking her body into Meteora's world, and that's cake for her. She hadn't been. She was. She was dying, but she wasn't dead yet. The best part is my other favorite part is when the SWAT team shows up. Is Saruga's comment is, "You guys are late. I got shot."
Yes.
Yes, Saruga is absolutely brilliant.
As they're helping her out, she lifts up her T-shirt to show that bulletproof vest. I'm not an idiot. You were going to shoot me.
But yeah, the bullet still went through because Blitz uses a fucking hand cannon.
Well, no, it didn't go. I don't think it went through.
She's gonna have a bruise the size of a fucking watermelon on her belly.
The reason she's coughing up blood, she probably has broken ribs. Yeah. And maybe a punctured lung. That did damage, but it didn't punch through because
it didn't stop us.
Otherwise, it would have painted the wall behind her.
Yeah. But yeah, Blitz has a bit of trouble at first accepting that this is actually his daughter, but he's like, no, it is obviously. This asshole wouldn't make it. You wouldn't. No.
What kind of a monster would produce would do this to me? I am your god. Fuck.
It's like if you weren't real, this asshole wouldn't have made you. Fuck. God, I hate my god, but dear. As the thing is,
all right. Well, now I gotta save the world.
So yeah, Blitz switches sides, which is one of the few things that actually catches Altair a little bit off guard during all of the big confrontation.
Yes.
She's like, "Wait,
like,
what?"
Sho switches sides because basically, like, there's a big fight between
Sho and Yuya.
Sho and Yuya, and the dating sim girl shows up with super kung fu powers. How did this happen? Well, they were like, how are we going to make her at all capable in combat? And her creator's like, dude, fan disc.
I'll make a
Just make a mod. It'll be fine.
You can literally, it's a dating sim. You can overlay any character / power set you want over it. The fans will accept it.
It'll just be an official mod. It'll be fine.
The dude knows his audience. Put it that way.
It's got to be a skimpy enough martial arts outfit, but yeah.
It's the ridiculous, stereotypical Chinese martial arts outfit that's all flaps and not much of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she's fucking powerful.
Oh dear God! She gets Altair to say, "Wow, your powers are unbalanced."
Yes. So they managed to beat up Shu, and she was like, "Okay, fine, kill me, but no, I'll never forgive you." Dude, I didn't kill them. What do you mean I didn't kill them? So, I peeked ahead in our story, and it turns out it was the fortune teller.
Well,
at which point, it cuts to the audience in the stadium and goes, "What?" Cuts to his writer in the production booth who goes, "Fuck, he gave away the spoiler. What am I supposed to do now?"
He's like, that asshole's giving away the next month's worth of material.
But Show's having trouble accepting it. Yuya's like, "Dude, why would I lie to you about this at all, let alone now?" And Show's like, "Fuck, you're right."
So Sho switches sides.
Yeah, I was like, he was basically like, "Why would I? What on earth reason would I have for killing your sister? Seriously, or your best friend?" And hell, I thought I was your best friend. Fuck. Why would I do that? That's completely out of character for me.
Like, if I had a problem with you, I'd just kill you.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, you just kill me.
So yeah, I went off to do this other stuff because there was big problems happening, and I went off. I should have said goodbye. I'm sorry about that. And then all of a sudden, you guys were coming after me trying to kick my ass. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't understand why you guys hated me so much all of a sudden. Apparently I was framed for killing your sister. I didn't know. Jesus.
So, Sho switches sides, and Altair switch sides, and they're setting up the big fight, and then Altair plays one of her many trump cards when Karen shows up. Karen is from Celestia's series, and it's her best friend and love interest and mentor in his mech.
Oh yeah, did we mention that she managed to summon a mech when they opened the...
Oh, we've already mentioned it.
Right.
Well, they got it back because, of all the crossover event stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she's been fighting, this whole time she's been fighting Altair and her mech. And Altair's at Chidi McCheerson, because...
Yes.
When nothing's canon, everything's canon.
Yeah. And, Kuyo... God, I can't remember his name again. Robot Kid.
Shinji. Good Shinji.
Kanoya.
Thank you. And Kanoya is squaring off with Altair. Though Altair has made it clear to him that we're not actually trying to fight here. We're
putting on a show till the time is right.
Which Meteora has been planning for because Altair's creator told her she's going to switch sides. I guarantee it. And of course she does.
Right.
And so yeah, if Sharon shows up and like Celestia's like, what? I can't fight Sharon. And Sharon's like trying to get her to switch sides and save the world because, again, Altair's convinced him that this is the way to save their world, and she's lying.
Right, and he's just so tired of fighting.
Yeah. So more fighting happens. Eventually, Celestia gets off her ass and goes after Sharon to stop him.
Right, because he keeps on interrupting all of their attempts to pin down Altair.
Right. And so she's like, I have to
He keeps on interrupting all their attempts to pin him down.
Right. And so Celestia basically is like, okay, fine. She goes after him, and he's like, look, Celestia, I you know you can't beat me. I'm better than you. She's like, yeah, I know. At which point she basically just grabs him and turns back to Kanoya and says, okay, kid, open up your big blat. It's like, wait, no, but that'll kill you too. Yep.
Yes, but it'll how she put it? It'll strip Altair of her last shield.
Yep.
And you'll be able to pull this off. And well, the kid, yeah, he does it. He kills them both.
Yep.
And yeah,
Celestia dies
Mateora. Alisteria dies before this happens, though, because
Alisteria goes one-on-one with Altair
and comes up with this big blat attack, and Altair basically, Altair just like, yeah, remember I had that whole thing about being able to reverse causality? Yeah, you just stabbed yourself.
Because you might be the hero in your story, but this isn't your story. You're just a supporting character. And then Alisteria dies, and her creator leaves the room and breaks down.
Yep.
And yeah, because that's another thing. She was initially angry and abusive towards him, but she was still his, and they're inextricably linked, and you can't help love or hate what you create. You can't help but do both sometimes, speaking from experience.
And he very much loved his creation. That was abundantly clear. Like, he was like all the creators we see in the show for the most part, like, adore really do love their creations, even if they find them exasperating at times.
A lot of the Celestia and Matsubura's relationship is almost always contentious and sweet.
Yes.
They're both kind of hot-headed and constantly butting heads, and also clearly care deeply for one another.
Yes.
It's very much a father and daughter type of situation.
So yeah, so Altair's is out of shields at this point.
Yeah, she's out of pieces on the board, but she's not actually playing chess.
No. This is when they realize that Altair has taken advantage of the birdcage.
Yeah, and Altair has, through one of her bullshit powers, we see her, like, finding out what's going on earlier on. She's in the room with Blitz at the time. And has developed a strategy to take advantage of the birdcage and use it to change all of the gathered acceptance and adoration and excitement, and channel it into herself instead of everyone else. So she's just getting more and more powerful as they try to put her down.
Yep.
And she talks directly to the audience several times with mustache twirling bad guy speeches.
Yep.
so they're like, okay, so what's next? Okay, Meteora, how's the acceptance? It's high enough to pull off our actual plan. Okay, let's use our actual plan. Because all of this up to now was all about setting things up and getting people excited enough to actually bring in an all-new creation they had made for this crossover, for the specific event, which was Sirius. And one of Altair's creators' other doodles, basically, who's basically just a copy of Altair. She's got all the same abilities, all the same tricks, none of the personalities, such as it is.
Well, the thing is about it, they did write her a personality in the background to be the good Altair.
Right.
The issue they had is that they were getting desperate because Altair had basically just wiped the floor with everyone. Because that whole thing about, on the rooftop when they were fighting and she was limited because she couldn't unleash her full power because the world was rejecting her. In the birdcage, that doesn't happen.
Right.
So she's pulling everything out of her ass and just wrecking everyone.
Plus, she's been gaining other abilities because everyone keeps on... all of her fans keep on making new fan art for her.
Yeah. So, basically, as they keep going, they say, okay, well, we've got to play this card now. And they're saying, okay, well, it's enough to get her to appear at least. I don't think there's enough to format her personality. So it's going to be that, mysterious one lone figure appears and fights. We're not going to know anything about her. Okay, fine. It'll have to do. And they put her in...
They mentioned that the only reason they could pull it off is because the amount of foreshadowing that they put in all the promo material.
Yes, but they've never really expressed who she is.
Right.
It's just a figure. Which is important.
Yes. So what happens is she comes in and uses her own version of the Holoscorpion?
Yeah.
Something like that.
The Holopsicon.
Holopsicon, yes. Which is Altair's power. And basically counters everything she does and then starts absorbing Altair. Like, unmakes Altair and absorbs all of her bullshit. Which she pulls off. She erases Altair and absorbs her existence.
Basically overwrites her.
Yeah. So everyone's response is like, okay, whew, can't believe that worked. Okay, so what about this Sirius chick? Well, she's kind of a blank slate. Well, Meteora, Altair's existence coefficient is 0. She's gone. She's not coming back. Altair comes back.
Yeah, that whole sort of blank slate thing.
Yeah, the no personality thing.
Oops.
Yeah, it turns out that Altair realized that last minute what was going on and slipped into one of Sirius's possible existences and takes over Sirius.
Yep. Because of course she did. I mean, again, that was the logical thing to happen. So, I mean, given what was set up, I have complaints, but yeah.
Not as many as are about to happen.
Yeah. They're all tied to the same thing, so we'll get to it when we get to it.
We'll get into that.
Well, the issue we get to, because she comes back, and she comes back, she puts Yuya down. Doesn't kill him, but puts him down. And everyone else is like, well, fuck. I mean, even Blitz is like, I'm just a dude with a gun. How am I the last one standing?
I'm not even the main character in my own story.
All right. During all of this, Shoya has been watching. Been
watching in the stadium.
Shota, sorry.
He's been
Sota,
up in the rafters
Sota,
watching.
Sota.
Sota, yeah. He's been up in the rafters watching the stadium with the crowd, and enjoying it as much as he can because he knows the stakes. When Magan shows up with some churros.
And they have this wonderful conversation.
Yeah. Where Magan basically lays it on the line like, she likes this world. It's a lot of fun. You know what this is? This isn't. You know what this necklace is? It's iron pyrite. Sometimes people think it's gold, and they'll fight and kill for it. But it's not worth anything. It's not good for anything.
By the way,
it's not gold. It just looks like gold.
And she goes on about gold being equally dumb in a lot of ways. She's right.
Yes.
My favorite thing is the second she said it's iron pyrite, I was like, of course it is.
Yes, of course it is.
Of course she's got a fool's gold necklace. Of course she does. So perfect.
And Sota's like parries with her a bit. He's grown a bit of a spine around her. He's still scared shitless, but he's grown a bit of a spine.
Yep.
And eventually she's like, so you've got a wish. Do I? Yeah, and it's a really selfish wish. It is. It's a profoundly selfish wish. I could tell you that it's for the good of the world. It'll save everyone. But ultimately, it's just for my own well-being. It's just for my own satisfaction, to assuage my own guilt. She's like, huh, really?
She loves the fact that he admits this to her. Absolutely loves it.
And she... Really? You know what? I like you, kid. I might even give that hothead back his ghost. Really? No, you won't. That's a lie. You're catching on.
He denied her lie.
Yes.
And so she talks about like how he's got she starts talking about how like you crave the acceptance and all this stuff, but you don't need it for your creations. You could just all this stuff. And he's like, no, you absolutely you don't need the acceptance. No, you absolutely do need the acceptance. That's one. Because yes, and he realizes what she's done.
Yes.
And he asks, "Why would you help me?"
Because I like fun. You, kid, and I like this world.
And it seems like fun. Now go! Actually, show me something fun with your creation.
It's like, okay, yeah. So he runs into the control room and says, "Okay, guys, we got to pull my trump card."
Dude, they're like, but it's not going to work.
A trump card.
It's asking for a miracle because there's nowhere near enough belief in the belief stuff. So like, what else do we have? It's like, okay, this is true. It's like at this point, it's like, what else can we do?
Okay, this is our Hail Mary. This is all we've got at this point. I mean, it's going to be a miracle that pull this off. And it cuts to Magan in like an airport waiting room, and she's like, "Yep, it's a miracle. It's just a big old lie." And a lie about a lie turns upon itself.
Which she says, the best part is with the lie upon a lie line she delivers, when it was happening during the summoning.
Yes.
Was they're summoning this new creation of Sota's, and it looks like it's failing, and they're denying that it could possibly happen after Sota says it can. At which point, he says the line at the same time that Magan is saying it in the airport.
Yes.
And it's brilliant.
And then you hear the snapping of fingers, and the birdcage changes.
Yep.
And it's the train platform from the first episode.
Yep.
And Peter's going to be upset about this.
Kinda, yes. Annoyed by it, yes.
So,
but not necessarily for the reasons one might think.
Yeah, so Setsuna Shimazaki, the Altair's creator, the person whose suicide set all these events into motion, comes down the stairs onto the platform and has a rather heartfelt conversation with Altair, which is the first time we see her show any emotion beyond smug self-satisfaction.
Yep.
As Altair just rages against like the idea that anyone would consider bringing her into this, that the cowardness of it, the cheap play, the dirtiness of it, and
which Sota says flat out, this is cheap and dirty.
Exactly what this is, but you've left me no choice. and Setsuna's like goes on about like how she's sad that Altair's become such a twisted thing, that she's all the sorrow and hatred that she felt at the last moments of her life and can't see the joy she had beforehand. And I am bad at expressing this.
Yeah.
and Altair's basically just rages back at her as like, but the world still did this to you. It doesn't deserve to exist. But you haven't seen everything of the world. You haven't let yourself see the world. And then the train starts coming, so she goes, well, my time's up. And she goes to step in front of the train, and Altair stops the train, basically starts rewriting the birdcage to save her. And in doing so, collapses the birdcage and gets herself booted out of reality, taking Setsuna with her.
Yep.
Into a new reality that the two of them can now make themselves.
Yep.
So and
they literally end up setting up an infinite loop. They create
the creator and it's the creator and the creation feeding on and building upon one another.
Well, it's not just that. It's literally Setsuna's dead. This is a creation of. This is not Setsuna. This is not actually Setsuna.
Right.
And so what Altair does, and she says she's doing, is she's creating her creator who created her in their own reality. Because she has the power of creation. Because Altair says she has the power of creation now.
Which is kind of neat. Screw you, I like it.
Yeah, this is the next to last episode of the series.
Yes.
And what happens here is they're off, and the birdcage collapses, and the world is saved.
Yep.
Because Altair's been booted out of it. Because she's done something remarkably egregious, let's be real.
Yes,
she's created her own creator. Okay, the world's like, nope, fuck you, done, no.
Okay, no, out. It's all your fault.
Well, it wasn't her.
Altair, you're drunk. Go home.
Yeah, it was Sota that actually managed to draw a perfect recreation of.
Sota drew her.
But yeah, it was Altair.
All of his memories of her into it.
Right.
Yeah, it was Altair that defied her leaving reality.
Yes.
Yes.
Which caused reality to go, nope, fuck you.
Well, again, Altair was going to create a new version of a version of her that doesn't kill herself.
Right.
Yes.
Is what it was. So yeah, all right. I did not like this episode in particular. I did not like this resolution. There are parts of it I like, and I'm going to say flatly, all of this makes sense. It all flows. Everything clicks together perfectly. My problem is I do not like Altair as a villain at all. I like her conceptually in a lot of ways. There are a lot of really great things about her. But I have a real problem in general in fiction with villains who literally are unstoppable except for this kind of insane lunatic. Like, yes, we can't win. We can't possibly beat them in any way, shape, or form unless they basically beat themselves.
Yeah. They did write themselves into a corner with that bit.
here's the thing. I largely agree with you in concept, but I am much more forgiving of Altair's bullshittery than you are, largely because everything clicks together, and that she does clicks together as in service to the story, and she is very much a meta comment on
absolutely.
And I adore that idea. She's a beam made manifest.
Absolutely.
And I am much more forgiving of her as a character because she's clearly
that's the problem.
To be,
she's not a character.
She's clearly intended to be the way she is.
I agree.
Look at all the other characters, the way they're crafted.
I know.
She's just as beautifully crafted as the others for exactly what she's supposed to represent. And what's more, the way she's defeated is beautiful because it's Sota and Magan completely unmaking her by giving her exactly what she wanted and needed, and creating this almost poetic notion of the creator and the creation interweaving with one another, and it's great. I adore all of that.
And if Altair had been an actual personality in any way, shape, or form, I might have been okay with that.
But
she couldn't be.
But she could be. I know, Eric.
She couldn't be because then she wouldn't be as well realized that she is.
I agree, and this is my central crux of my problem with this with Altair, and it's a problem I have with the show.
She was every fanfiction Mary Sue.
I agree, and I don't. The problem is I can't enjoy this.
No.
It infuriates me.
I totally understand.
It's an idea with a skill set. That's it. Yeah.
It infuriates and it wouldn't be as much of a problem if we didn't. It wouldn't be as much like. First off, this kind of overpowered, obnoxious, infuriating villain bothers me less if they're an interesting character despite all of that. Altair isn't that. Wouldn't bother me nearly as much if it was the fact that we have a villainous character in the show who throws her into sharp relief in Magan.
Yes.
Even that is
obviously intentional. It's intentional. It doesn't mean I like it, though.
And I understand you don't like it, and that's cool, but you have to understand how much I adore this
setup. I get that. It's brilliant, but God, it's infuriating.
So what you're saying is this is basically your Bob Dylan.
Yes. Okay. Oh no, it's Quentin Tarantino all over again for me. I fucking I will say this as an example. Reservoir Dogs is one of the most brilliant movies I've ever watched. I hate that movie. Hate it. It's one of my least favorite movies I've ever watched, but I think it's absolute genius.
And I totally understand. That's exactly how I feel about Bob Dylan.
Right, exactly.
Oh, God, that man's one of the best poets I've ever read. Like, he belongs up there with the greats. An amazing lyricist, a great human being. I can't fucking stand his work.
Just goes to go to show, guys. You can acknowledge the skill and talent in something without liking it.
Oh yeah. Yes. Absolutely. At any rate, I would have been much more annoyed with the show if it hadn't been for the Coda episode, the final episode.
Yes.
Which, oh God, I was so glad that happened because it allowed me to come down off my God. I hate this type of episode. Oh, okay.
Damn it, Peter! Get down off your high horse and watch this.
But yeah, all of my grousing aside, I will say flatly, the execution of that episode is really well done.
Yes.
That is it's all a matter of honestly, it's a matter of personal preference on character writing. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not faulting the execution. I'm faulting it's my own personal. Oh, for fuck's sake, I hate it when stories do this. I get why it happens.
Yeah.
I get why they're doing it here, and it's really well done. But
normally I agree with you, but that like I said, the setup and the meta comments and all that other stuff, all tied into it.
Go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's only one way Altair could go, and that's part of my problem.
But here's the thing. I normally agree with Peter, in these situations, but the way this was done, I adore. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. This whole show is a giant pile of Eric porn.
So yeah, the final episode happens, and it's It's a coda. It really is.
Yeah,
It's,
it's basically establishing
up.
like the surviving creations, making peace with their creators, and having one. In many cases, having one last hangout.
yep.
And basically setting up what an epilogue.
Yeah.
Meteora creates a big old portal to send everyone home, but she can't go home herself, and she's okay with that. She really loves it here in this world. She loves being able to eat hot hamburgers.
Yeah, she loves this world, and she's okay with losing her powers. She'll just become a writer.
Yeah. I'll create my own worlds, just like you guys. I think I want to try my hand at that.
She's already played her game. Her story's told. It's over. You know, her world is done, dusted, finished.
Right.
So she can't go back herself. So she's happy to just carry on. I mean, they even say that, okay, we're sending them back, but I mean, from my personal point of view, they mourn the ones that died, but it's like, well, they still exist in their stories. The same place we're sending these guys back to anyway.
Right.
So, not to cheapen their deaths or anything like that, but it's like they're still alive. They're still there. The one that came here isn't here anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is, they all changed when they came here. Is the thing.
Yes.
So they are very much different characters than when they arrived.
Yes, they've all evolved as people, and that's really...
that's the biggest tragedy about the ones that passed is they all had big moments of change and clarity before they died.
Yep.
From Mamika's growth into God, Mamika's growth was amazing. Telesteria sort of letting her worldview actually change. To Celestia accepting actually being able to say outright that how she felt about Charon and her willingness to sacrifice everything to save the world.
Yeah.
Those are all big moments, and it's sad that those people are gone. It's sort of but versions of them exist on in their own stories.
Yes, they it's like in some science fiction bits. I'm thinking particularly about about Ian Banks' Culture series, where you can back yourself up and to have your personality, memories, and knowledge all dumped into a new clone body, but you have to do it frequently, and you never remember the instance that killed you because, well, it's a copy of you.
It's not you. That's the whole thing about cloning. People say, I'm going to clone myself and live forever. No. You're going to die. Someone's going to take your place that looks like you.
Except the culture books make a very good argument for, it is them. It's as much them as if they had just woken up from a deep sleep or a coma.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
and that's basically what happened. They just didn't. They didn't back up before coming here.
What they leave with, though, is that they leave that influence on the writers.
Yep.
Yes.
So, Celestia's one of her big things was, we didn't really have many stories where I came from. We didn't have time for them, or at least we just didn't really think about telling stories. And Matsubara's like, okay, well, I'll include some. When you go back. I'll include stories so you can have
the next chapter. I'll make some room for you guys to have some stories and legends and stuff.
Yeah, and Celestia is like, and coffee.
He's like,
I
okay,
like coffee. Put coffee in it. It's like, oh, okay. Coffee exists in your world now. But even they have these nice little scenes where they leave, and it's like even Sho and Yuya. They're still arrogant assholes towards their creator, but they're just like, no, look, we're not going to try and get you to change anything. What's the point? We don't blame you for what's happened to us. It's just fate. Things happen. You created the world.
That reminds me of the wonderful line Julia had, where it's like, the creator's. It's not like he's not like what's happened is not really God. It's fate with an annoying personality attached to it.
Yes.
Yeah, because Sho's like, okay, so because. Yuya tells Sho like the big plot twist, and Sho's like, all right, so we need to go and kill our writer. It's like, no, dude, you're missing the point.
And all they want to do, they just say, look, just send us back. Let us have some fun. Let us kill that bastard that did all this. And then it's all cool. And we'll just see where things go.
And that's the thing, that they're always kind of pricks to Yatoji. Was that his name?
Yeah.
To Yatoji. And Yatoji was always kind of pricks back at them. Yeah. But by the time of the Coda episode, they've settled into sort of a comfortable, snarky bromance with one another.
Yeah, kind of.
Where they'll make fun of each other and give each other shit, but it's all in fondness.
Even Nakanagane, he's like he takes I keep forgetting his name. Kanoya. He takes Kanoya out for the day. Yeah, not Shinji. Just to go shopping. And of course, not Shinji goes and buys a fucking Gunpla model of his mech. And
to be fair, it's a really cool design. I would too.
So, do they even exist in your world? Because says, well, we've just done a massive crossover. I could write them in if you want to take them back. Sweet! Take some bags of toys. So, yeah, fine, I'll just write it in. Deal? So, then, like I say, it's less about the impact of the actual characters themselves, but on their writers.
Yep. So
that's the show.
That's the show. So I guess we're going into final thoughts. Gav first, then me, then Eric. Since it's your show, Eric, you get to wrap it up.
I actually really enjoyed this much more. I mean, the same things that Peter said. The character the main villain was a little bit one-dimensional. But as Eric said, that was the intent. She's a fucking Mary Sue written by every 14, 12-year-old on the internet. No personality and all super cool powers and tragic background. But for me, the real shining point of this is the actions on the real world. And it's the reactions of those that created, not so much the creations. Because, again, I don't want to cheapen it, but at the end of the day, even the ones that died, even the ones that went back, what they do, what they learn, once it's back in their world, they don't have any influence on that anymore. It's, again, down to the writers and the influence the characters have had on them. And it's their interactions, and it's their insecurities, and it's almost like a stealth, like I say, slice of life kind of thing. It's about them than it is the super flashy effects and fighters. That's in there, but it's them. It's their side of it. It's Sota and his desire to be part of that world while weighing up that guilt baggage that he's been carrying with him all these years. Mm-hmm. Hell, the first scene is him staring at a whiteboard and unable to draw because of it all just build up on him. I said it 2 or 3 times as we were watching it. If there's nothing else this did to me, it made me want to write again.
Yeah.
These guys, I've shown my writing to these guys. It's like a fucking 5-year-old. My ability with words is hell. I can barely speak them, never mind write them and get a clear point across half the time. But God, I wanted to go back and try. This is a really underrated, and I think this is going to get overlooked a little bit because of what's come out around it.
And the manner in which it was...
the manner in which it came out, because it was on Amazon rather than any of the traditional sources that many people are used to. And the only lasting thing that I can think of coming into this is one thing I said at the end is like, this is a great story. And with all the best intention, I actually hope it doesn't get a sequel.
Oh, God,
because it doesn't need one. This is so cut and dry, perfect. Watch it. Go now. Well, listen to these two first, then go watch it.
I will say this. You guys heard I ranted about Altair, and I complained about that, the resolution to the final conflict. Despite all of that, and that did not undo any of the fondness for the rest of the show I have. And as I said, that's a my personal feelings on that type of resolution, and it didn't sit right with me. That doesn't mean it's not well constructed for the situation, and not that it didn't work, because it certainly did.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed this show. There's a lot of really good character writing, a lot of really clever plot bits here and there, and honestly, I think my favorite parts of the show really are they might really be the character moments, to be honest, beyond anything else. Like the interactions between the creators and with each other, and between them and their creations, and some of the creation interactions, like the scenes with Mamika and Altair are fantastic, and every scene with Magan and Sota are just brilliantly done.
Yeah.
And Magane's just, God, I want to read the manga she's a villain in. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Jesus. She's great. I liked all almost all the creations were fairly interesting. Some of them were a little bit less, like, I'm not sure I would be that interested in the Altair series. I don't know how much I would actually dig the individual series these characters are from, because there's not much told about them, because that's not important for the story that we're being told here. So, but like the characters we see them as in our world, they're all really interesting and neat. Especially Meteora and Magan are the two standouts for me of the creations. And most of the creators the creators were all fairly interesting, but I agree with Eric. I do think Matsubara is the standout of the creators, just because he's as Suruga is hilarious and awesome, but is not as well developed a character as Matsubara is, I think. But I like both of them a lot, and I did not expect Sota to be as nuanced as he ended up being. Also, was the other big joyful surprise for me in this show, is he had actual character and depth to him, and he really sort of initially comes across as typical isekai audience insert type.
Yeah, he wasn't along for the ride. He was an actual character in his own right.
Yep.
Yes, and he was considerably more developed than.
Yes.
I was also surprised by the degree of development he got.
And so I really do recommend watching this show. It's good. It's a lot of fun. Eric, yeah, you got the hammer.
This show sucked. No, I really enjoyed this show. It was actually the highlight of my week, waiting for it to come out. Well, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but I looked forward to it each time it came out. And yeah, just not only is it a really well-crafted story with a lot of great characters, each of which are given a tremendous amount of depth, even if they don't get a lot of screen time, and involve in great and wonderful ways, but the degree of meta narrative going on with the relationship between between a creative and what they create, and how they can interact with one another. The metaphor is a little obvious in the show, but that it's literally what's happening. But I really enjoy that deeper level of it also, and just the animations really well done. Like some of those action scenes just blow you away.
Yes, it was so fun.
And anytime Magan is on the screen, like they clearly blew their budget making sure she moved in as an alluringly disturbing way as possible. And yeah, there isn't a character on here I don't like. Unlike Peter, I even like Altair, because she's exactly what she was supposed to be, and could not have been developed further without making her not as well crafted as she was. And I will fight you on that. So yeah, it's just I I really enjoyed this show, and it would probably be the like the others have said, if it weren't for the platform distribution on it and the fact that it was released around the same time as Made in Abyss, it would probably be like Anime of the Year. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and you've heard most of my. I actually really like the episode where Altair is defeated and you heard me and Peter go back and forth on reasons why just now.
Also, one last note to add: it has probably the recap episode is in our top 3.
Oh yeah, the recap episodes. Yeah, do not skip the recap episode.
No,
It's
dear God,
hilarious.
no! It's hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
It's great.
And I don't want to spoil why it's good. Watch it.
It's hilarious and completely in character for the show.
Yes.
So far, it's this, Kill la Kill, and Nadesco have the
Kill la
best.
Kill didn't have a recap episode. It had like the pre-credit scene for a recap.
And that's why it was brilliant.
It was good.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed. Next time we do 3-minute anime will be Gav's recommendation. So, Gav, have you chosen the next series?
Yep, I am sticking with the theme. More giant robots.
Yay!
Well, we went from Gunbuster, which is my last suggestion. I wasn't going to follow it up, especially since we've had a show with a giant robot in it. But then I realised this show has all genres in it, so fuck it. We're doing Iron-Blooded Orphans from the Gundam series.
All right. So we're doing IBO. Oh, boy.
Hooray! That's another show with a great opening.
Cool. I look forward to actually watching the actual Gundam series for once.
Yep,
It's not a real Gundam series. It's not Universal Century.
It's not
Come on,
Universal
man.
Century, but it's look. As we've said, we've had Peter on. We've had him on Build Fighters, which was the basic premise of Gundam. Now we get to the child soldiers and death and political shit. So Universal Century can come down the line.
All right. See you guys next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.